All right, welcome everyone to the Wicked Weekend podcast. We got the Wicked crew up in here. We're talking some comics and manga. What's up, guys?
Hey,
Morning.
Hey, good afternoon for me.
We got the oh fuck. Wait. Oh shit. Sorry. My bad. Hold on. I felt like I was having a seizure there. I had YouTube up in the other window with the video on, and all of a sudden my own voice started talking back to me, and it was really starting to trip me up for a second there. But hey guys, it's been a couple weeks. How are you guys doing? Both just in general and on your projects.
I'm charging ahead on mine.
Really? Yeah, your Indiegogo's coming up, right?
Yeah, on April 1st. So
That's exciting.
I'm just dealing with a lot of the back end stuff because I've never done that before. So, writing the promo material, coming up with all the different tiers, or I don't know what's the term, perks, I guess.
Right.
Indiegogo. And yeah, like I found I there's like 10 different tiers right now, and I don't think I can realistically prune that. Honestly, that's like the minimum. Maybe I could get to 9, but I mean, yeah, there's just going to be a lot of different options for people to throw in on.
A lot of cool merch and kind of different things you're doing.
Yeah, I've got just the comic. Well, you can just get the PDF, or you can just get the comic, and then you can get there's going to be a couple of pinups we'll do. That you can order those with the comic. You can order a T-shirt. You can order a sketch of one of the movie men along with a comic. And then there's you can get combine everything, all of it at once. Or you can also get you can be drawn in as there's a couple of different minor characters. Or if you really want to be a big spender, we'll feature you in a 4-page backup story.
Oh wow! Like you as a person?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be pretty interesting. I could see that.
I know.
Yeah.
I know of quite a few people who usually jump for those.
So
right? Oh yeah.
And then it multiplied a little bit just because the shipping problem, right? Because it's so bloody expensive outside of the country.
And
so
yeah,
I just created separate tier, or like just 2 tiers.
Oh,
If you're outside the country, here's the tier, just the physical, just the book. Or if you want the whole ball of wax, those are your 2 options.
Now, how have you accounted for the international then? Because you said there was the higher shipping. Are you going to be offering that or doing domestic only?
Yeah, international for the comic, it's going to cost $15 to ship it.
Okay.
Because it's just really that expensive. I believe that'll be about the average.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then if you want the whole ball of wax, I might eat a little bit on this, but it'll be $20 to ship it all.
Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty reasonable price, I'd say. Yeah, that's always a tricky part of handling Indiegogos. I'm sure, as anyone can imagine.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. I'm glad to hear everything's moving forward really well. I love all the characters that you have.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, it seems like you got a really nice balance of different personalities in there.
Yeah, I tried to. The interesting thing that I didn't foresee was that the character, when you start writing fiction and it actually starts working for you, the characters talk back to you. They say they put words in their own mouths that you didn't anticipate.
Yeah, it kind of takes you on it. You kind of follow the story as it goes in a way, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And you come to so I had to write a final 4 pages to just kind of fill the story out because there were some gaps.
Okay. And that's where the opportunity for the person to get their role in, is that where that comes in?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there is more of it came in there where the characters started interacting with each other and saying things that, I mean, I technically wrote, but I'm not sure where some of it came from.
It was like from a fever dream or something.
That's right.
Oh man, that's great. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that one coming out. And Scott, you also have an upcoming crowdfunding campaign, isn't that right?
Yeah, we're shooting for May 3rd right now, and we've been rolling out with some art this week.
Scott?
Yeah, Can y'all hear me?
What was that, Scott?
Oh, I guess Jeremy's having trouble. But you can hear me, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Are we
I can hear
who
you
can
too.
hear Scott? Yeah.
I can't.
I can.
No one can
Yeah,
hear Scott
clearly.
but me. That's interesting. Let me
That is
see.
interesting.
I wonder if they can hear you in the video.
Not sure.
Well, let me check. I'm gonna listen and say something.
Yes, go ahead and say something, Scott.
Okay. So, like I said, May 3rd is when we're going to launch the Kickstarter for Wrath.
Canales, did you hear anything?
He's on mute now.
I think he was listening.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and drop out and then come back in?
All right.
if you
Yeah, no,
can.
I can hear him on the video. Just saying.
Oh, you
Ibai,
can?
Yeah,
Ibai, I
can you?
can't. I haven't heard either of you guys. Can some you guys say?
Oh,
something?
wow. That's so weird.
I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
I feel like this is the weirdest podcast experience I've ever had.
It is.
Yeah.
Who can hear who as of now?
I can hear.
I can hear you,
everybody.
and that's it.
You can hear me.
I can hear everyone.
Ebi can hear everyone.
Yeah.
I can hear everyone. I haven't
Scott
heard
can
Tank
hear
say
everyone.
anything, but
Heavy Tank, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, just listening.
He can hear
Okay.
everyone. So Scott, now we're all good to go now. Jeremy, I think now you're the only one who can't hear it.
Okay, I'll drop out and come back then.
Okay.
all right.
All right.
All right.
Be right
Thanks for everyone. We're doing we're having a little technical difficulties, so please bear with us.
Yeah, it's the second time this morning, so we're just ironing out the problem.
I've never had that happen to before, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It's establishment, man. It's trying to keep us down.
Right. Speaking of establishments trying to keep you down, the Twitter establishment is always trying to keep you down. And so, how have you been dealing with that, Ebi?
Oh well, I'm doing well. I think I'm dealing pretty well with the withdrawal syndrome, and
Really?
not being able to piece SDWs off on a regular basis. But Facebook is full of them too, so I'm good. I have my daily dose of piecing SDWs off anyway.
Hey, Jeremy, welcome back. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can.
Yay! No one. That was such a weird experience on this program. I've never had that happen.
Yeah, me neither.
So, Scott, you were mentioning that you were doing crowdfunding.
Right. We were tentatively scheduled for May 3rd for a Kickstarter campaign.
Nice. Nice.
And we've been rolling out some artwork. On my Twitter page, you can see the art for the first page, and I tease a little bit of the lettering. I'm not completely done lettering the first page. I kind of want to tweak some of the bottom panels. And then I showed you some new stuff last night as well for that other project that you guys are working on.
I didn't get a chance to check that actually. I was a little busy last night. You teased a new project, huh?
No, you guys are have that project.
That project.
Yeah. So you're
getting, right, that.
Yeah,
that project.
It's too early in the morning for me. I'm too slow. I can't get. Yeah. Put it in the group chat maybe.
But yeah. So I have the sketch of the two main characters. My artist is still working on it. Just putting some color and some grayscaling and a few other details, and then that'll go up on my Twitter page as well.
Nice. Yeah. Have you thought about the tiers and the perks and all that?
Yeah, actually, I sent you over a kind of draft of the tiers not too long ago. I think I had like 5 or 6 so far. Just basic, digital copy. And I think we talked about doing a regular cover copy, signed variant, one regular, one signed variant. Then we had some commissioned sketches by the artist, some commissioned full color commissions by the artist, and some cameos for some just minor background characters.
Nice. Sounds like a good variety of different options.
Yeah, but now I got to think about I didn't think about this earlier. Is international,
Right. Yes.
Touch base with some of you guys and lean on some of your experience with that one.
Yeah, I'm sure Cody could talk more about this with his experience, but it's definitely a whole beast of its own. Um,
Yeah.
it's takes some logistics to plan out,
Right. I think a big problem with his is he launched his campaign without physical copies, so a lot of it was planning that out after.
Right. He didn't account for the shipping costs necessarily for international at the time.
Now, Jeremy, you said you're going to do a tier with that. Does Indiegogo or Kickstarter automatically like adjust for where the shipping is, or do you just have to set like a set price on that?
You do a set price, but you can say domestic or international, right? And so most of my tiers are domestic only, except for the ones that specifically say international, and so then those have a higher shipping price on them.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good way to get around that issue because I don't think there's any built-in options for anything like that as of now.
It'd be good if they did, automatically calculate it. But one of the problems is that because of currency fluctuations, it would constantly change.
Right. And then sometimes, they change their postage, stuff like that.
Well, it would. I don't know how complex it would be, but I know with PayPal, they have the automatic currency. Like when I pay, when I sent eBay money for decimators, I was able to just send him a US dollars and it automatically converts to well, I don't even know whatever Spain money is.
Yeah, no, it's I can vouch for that. I mean, they do the exchange from dollars to euros automatically.
It's pretty nice, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a great advantage.
Yeah. So maybe a feature like that could be cool to implement. I don't know if that's how difficult that is,
Well, you also have tariffs and postal costs as well, which are also in flux. So it's not just one thing that's fluxing; it's like 3 or 4.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, that does make it tricky, doesn't it? Canalis, you've you've been an artist on a number of crowdfunded projects. Have you ever been a part of that aspect of kind of getting the project, like the logistical side of things?
Not yet. I think the project that I've been most involved with in the whole post production process, I think it's been the Abductables. But so far, when I drew Ironsides, Zach took charge of the whole fulfilling process thing, and I'm really glad because it sounds kind of nightmarish if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, especially when the bigger the project, the more difficult it is to manage that load of comics.
Yeah, because I have several ideas for my own crowdfunded projects, for my own original comics. But when I hear stories about what you have to go through to fulfill the whole thing, oh man, I become lazy all of a sudden.
It's doable. I what are you guys' thoughts? Because I always see people. People either do it themselves or they go with like a fulfillment center. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the fulfillment option will be the fulfillment company will be the best option.
And what about you, Jeremy?
I mean, that's one of the reasons I partnered with you guys, because the idea of fulfilling it myself just didn't seem that appealing.
That's funny. Yeah, me personally, I like to as opposed to going with like a fulfillment company, I like to do it myself just because I know what I'm getting the process done and it's getting done the right way, and I feel like I have a little more control that way. So it's like you don't have those issues come up where something I remember, what was it, Jawbreakers I think had some shipping issues, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. They had an issue with, they weren't, first of all, they didn't wrap the comic, but secondly, they put it inside of a mailer that it wasn't like a Jimani mailer that just hugs the thing. It was letting it kind of fall around and kind of get sanded as it was going and shipping, and it resulted in a slightly higher number of wrecked copies than usual. So they had to actually halt mailings and make sure that they were using the right sort of mailers after that.
Well, yeah, that's tricky. I've heard other stories like that too. Like I think the can't remember who was telling me this, but they were using a fulfillment center and they were supposed to have a set of comics arrive at a certain time, and then they just weren't there, and the people were like, "Oh yeah, sorry, they can't do anything about it. Sorry, it's just not gonna arrive in time."
And the added problem of living in Spain, and I really can't trust for example, the printers here, because here's a recent example. Instead of buying new comics, because new comics suck, I've been bounding my old floppies on hardcovers, and I'm taking them to a printer near my house. I've been waiting for the last bound edition of my floppies for like six weeks.
Oh
Holy
boy.
crap.
Yeah, I went to check on them like after a week of because they tell you, oh yeah, well, this will take a week, don't worry. So I went to check on them after a week, and they still had my floppies in the same freaking bag, in the same freaking table I left them on.
Oh my god, dude.
And I was like, guys, did you even touch this thing? And they were like, I don't know. Did we touch this thing? I don't know. Did you touch this thing? Jesus Christ.
That's bad.
And it's been 5 weeks since that, and I still haven't heard from them.
Wow. Yeah, that's
so
not
that's
cool.
Spain for you. That's that's my main problem with fulfilling it myself.
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, that is a nice thing about the way we have it set up is it takes the pressure off of you guys, so you can focus on the campaign itself.
Yeah, there's also a learning curve, that everyone's going to go through, and you guys have definitely, have gone and are going through that to a much greater extent than I'd be able to, with one campaign at a time.
True, that's a good point. Yeah, we get to have the experience of helping on all the different campaigns. That's a really good point. Yeah, and we found a really good system. I think that really works for the shipping. We found some really good mailers. We only had one customer complaint out of Jack Irons for all the shipments that we did for the campaign, and there was only one complaint of like a bent comic that we reshipped it out on a new stronger one just for that one. But yeah, I mean they're good inexpensive ones. They're not. I actually think they're pretty cool because they're a lot more cost effective than the Geminis. Which can eat into your budget after a while.
Yeah, I'm actually holding my Jack Irons copy in my hands right now, and the edition is really good. It's really tough. The paper is really high quality. So yeah, and I mean it arrived great here.
Really? Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean that's a far way to go.
Yeah, no, you made it to Spain, fam. So congratulations.
Oh, that's funny.
How many did you send out for Jack Irons?
We've sent out over 100, I think, at this point.
So 1 out of 100 isn't bad at all.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, I was very pleased with those results. Yeah. It's we used to go with I was originally going to go with just the plain old mailers you get from the post office, but those things are like more than $2 a piece, which it doesn't sound like much, but yeah, it adds up. Especially when you're doing 100 orders. That's $200 right there that you could be saving a lot on. But anyway, enough of
Well, no, look, it's interesting to me. Can I read you guys the promo for Movie Men that I've Okay, just a second.
Please do.
All right, here it is. Movie Men is about what occurs after something crazy happens to a group of normal teens. What could be more mundane than earning some spending money by selling tickets and popcorn? And what could be more fantastical than having the monsters escape from the screens and being nudged by fate to go save innocent people those monsters are menacing? Will our young heroes prove up to the challenge of dealing with mummies, dinosaurs, and other screen monsters brought to life? Or will the final curtain fall for them?
Nice. I like it, yeah. Yeah, I love classic movie monsters. So I've been looking forward to this one. I know you've teased the mummies, and you've obviously teased the mummy.
Yeah.
You've teased the dinosaur.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see what's coming after that.
I'll tell you that when we get to a second issue of this, I think I said this on a previous podcast. It's going to be Frankenstein.
Oh, nice. Frankenstein's monster, of course, right?
Yes.
It's an important detail, of course.
Well, yeah, actually, though, yes. Well, I don't want to.
Okay, yeah, no, don't say no more. But yeah, no, that's a good one to use. Yeah, as long as it's not Benedict Cumberbatch. I saw him as Frankenstein's monster.
Oh, I
And that
didn't
was
see
nice.
that one.
Yeah, he did a play, and Fathom Events put it out as like a movie in
Okay.
theaters, and it was interesting.
Well, he's lanky and has a weird face. So.
Right, yeah, so it works, I guess. But Heavy Tank, I know you don't have a crowdfunding campaign coming up, but how have things been progressing with your project?
Ground to an unfortunate lack of motivational halt.
Eesh. That's never easy to deal with, is it?
No, it's mostly not because of anything with the writing of the story and anything of itself. It's more funding of specific pieces of art that has become a problem. Cover and logo, two very integral parts that are causing me an unfortunate amount of stress. And it's
no. Have you? I mean, have you thought about doing a crowdfunding campaign at all for this series?
No, because
really,
no, I haven't. Did not look at crowdfunding in any way, shape, or form.
It might be something to consider. I mean, honestly, we haven't really seen too many light novels or novelist series on there, especially with the illustrations and.
Yeah, the problem comes down to the logistics side of it. I've looked at the start, but pretty much it comes down to the same issue that Canales has. The people, the businesses this side are just shit. Really, they are honestly just shit. I don't even want to go into it because it's going to turn into a mini political rant yet again about why everything in this country has gone to hell. But needless to say, if I do something like that, I'll have to partner with somebody in another country where these things will be of a
Wikid
performance and things.
I just saying.
No, I understand that. I understand what you're saying. It's just when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, if I do consider crowdfunding, but now there comes down to the other problem. What do I offer for tiers? Because I've been so involved and just getting the story written together out there. I have not even considered this. So putting in new characters, as a example, stretch goal for somebody else is going to be like, I mean, nothing against doing that. I mean, I would love to do things like that, but not with the story as it stands currently.
Okay, that's fair. I can see that. Maybe something to consider down the road, but not really somewhere where you're ready to consider right now. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fair. Go ahead, Jim. Were you about to say something, or
was I?
Well, maybe not. I thought you were, but
well,
sorry.
I mean, look. I mean, just off the top of my head, I would do an ebook, a book, a poster based on some of the art that you've already commissioned, and a T-shirt. I mean, those are some things you could do for tiers right there.
And if you're ever interested in just having set up a meeting with you, me, and Matt, we can always talk more about it. How we can help you get a lot of those things streamlined, because that's what we want to do. We want to make it so it's as easy as possible for the crowdfunding. That's part of why we take on the shipping and the printing and things like that, and just to help out with that. And because I think once you are able to focus on that, you're able to. It becomes a lot more manageable. Because I've seen a lot of the guys like Doug was just talking about how he had to ship out. I think it was like 50 comics from Lone Wolf in one day, and I think he was having a long day there. So just something to consider. That's all. But have you guys seen Captain Marvel yet? I hesitate to bring it up, but
You know, I will see it at some point.
You had to ruin my peace and quiet.
I had to do something, right? You knew it was coming eventually.
I've been avoiding that everything about it on Twitter because I'm just over everybody going on about it. Okay, cool. The movie's bad. Great.
Okay.
But why?
I saw it.
Bad, mediocre,
I saw
however.
it, guys.
Yeah. But the problem is everybody is still analyzing every last bit of minutia about it. It becomes tiresome.
I'm here to give the devil's advocate, and I actually really liked the movie. I didn't think it was bad at all, really.
But it wasn't good.
Actually, no, I thought it was a really good movie. I loved seeing young Coulson and young Samuel Jackson's character, young Fury. That was perfect. That was just amazing. And honestly, it was a great balance of humor and action. I honestly didn't think it was a bad movie.
Well, I won't. I'm not gonna.
Interesting.
I'm not
It's
gonna.
a popcorn flick. It's not like it's sorry, Jeremy. I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's a popcorn flick. You know.
Yeah.
It's a good action movie.
Oh, I'm not gonna say no. The movie sucks when I haven't seen it yet. You know. I'll just say I will see it. I did all the early hype just kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and so I said, you know, that's fine. I'll wait it out and see it at some point.
Yeah, I could see that. The high, yeah, I didn't care for that myself. I'm I always try to like with Tom Cruise when he came out with all that stuff way back in the day. I always try to just keep the actor from the movie separate. I know some people can't really do that, but that's just my personal the way I look at it. Yeah.
The Tom Cruise thing was
my problem with
God.
Sorry, I was going to say that my problem with Captain Marvel is that she's one of the most uninteresting superheroes in the whole Marvel universe. You know, she's the kind of superhero that I never had interest. You know, she flies, and
yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah, lightning rays through her hands and punches aliens. Now I was always more of a Batman, Punisher type of street level superhero. So it was kind of a chore. It was kind of a chore for me to go see that movie. And since the lady has been running her mouth on social media about how she dislikes white males, well, yeah, okay, yeah, there you go, ma'am. Enjoy your movie. And I'm not gonna do the effort of going on and going.
Well, I'll give you that. I really the powers didn't necessarily really impress me all that much either. I mean, they're powerful for sure, but yeah, it's like it's like kind of generic, honestly. Powers.
Yeah, I mean, what are powers anyway? I mean,
she has like photon blasts that she shoots out of her hands, and then she can fly, and maybe she's like one other thing. I think she doesn't really honestly do that much.
Does she have super strength?
Maybe you might have super strength.
I think we have a problem with defining Captain Marvel's powers. No one seems to know what she does.
We do know she can hit an old lady. You know, we know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought I'd bring it up. I was curious what people's thoughts were. But we can get off the Marvel talk now.
I mean, I do think though that it's a good example of how look, it did actually fairly well. I think it could have done a lot better if Brie Larson hadn't have alienated an awful lot of fans along the way.
True.
It was just bad business.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not the smartest light bulb in the basket.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened with there, but like I said, I love seeing because I love the TV show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So any chance to see Coulson on the screen is like I just love that, you know.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I watched a bit of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and it never quite clicked with me.
Okay, yeah.
So I do think you're right that if you're a fan of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you know, that movie would be more appealing to you.
Right, yeah. And they had a cool cat in it, so like literally there's a cat in it, so right? What more do you need? But back to a different type of movie. Let's talk a little more about Movie Men, because I know you haven't really teased too much yet. You kind of been keeping it close to the chest. Is there some more that you can share about as we get closer to the campaign?
I mean, just the basic setup is fairly simple. It's if imagine you're an usher in a movie theater and you go in with a little wand to check to make sure that the people are, you know, in good working order and the door is locked. so people don't sneak in, and you find a bomb. And then you scream bomb because there's a bomb. And then you get trampled. And then you wake up just in time to see the bomb go off, but everything's left standing.
Sorry, just to interrupt. Yeah, I have to go live calls.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry, man. Well, thank you for joining us on the podcast. Hopefully, we'll get to talk to you soon about more about your project.
Yeah, I hope so too.
And good luck with everything. And let us know if there's anything we can do to help too. Get that
now I'm
situated.
hoping for some better news soon.
Okay.
Thanks,
Well,
guys.
yeah, definitely. Take care.
Bye, man.
And so then you wake up just in time to see it explode, but everything's left intact except the monster is missing from the screen.
So they're not gonna be in the movie. That's like gonna be like, oh shit.
Yeah, little have people that are in the movie going, where to go?
I'm detecting a certain Last Action Hero vibe from it.
Yeah, there's definitely some of that. At one point, you have an old lady who comes out and complains because she wants her money back because from a different movie than that kid was in, and the monsters have gone missing from the screen, and so all the actors are just on a smoke break.
Nice. That's funny. Yeah, I like that. I love the premise because it allows for such fun moments like that. There's so much you can do with that. I feel like.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so you find out that two things happened when this bomb went off. One, all the monsters escaped from the screens and were tossed all over town. The town is Bellingham, Washington. And two, the workers at the theater, when they confront these monsters, all of a sudden weapons appear in their hands that they can use to destroy them. Hopefully,
yeah.
And if they manage to vanquish these monsters, then they just go right back to the screens.
The weapons as well, or just the monsters?
The monsters go back to the screens.
Okay.
The weapons do. It's possible they eventually disappear as well. I'll just say that.
Okay, interesting. And we've seen some art that you've teased on Twitter. So we've seen a Gatling gun.
So there's a whip, a Gatling gun, a sword, a wand, and I think I'm forgetting one. Oh, a space blaster.
Oh, nice. Yeah, gotta have a space blaster in there.
Yeah, you gotta have a space blaster.
Right? Yeah, no, that's perfect. I mean, because monsters you can do a lot of stuff with. I mean, that's a broad definition you can go with too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're talking like Mars Attack Space Blaster?
I mean, kind of like a Flash Gordon, kind of a zap gun.
Flash Gordon. Yeah, it's funny. I Flash Gordon. That was an interesting. Have you ever seen that?
Me? Yeah, I've seen various things of Flash Gordon. Yes.
Nice. Yeah. So, is there any? What are like some of the inspirations, like other than like movies themselves, that you kind of take from?
Well, I mean, this story started marinating when Regal Cinemas with their workers got new uniforms that they kind of looked a little bit like X-Men costumes to me. And so you had this weird thing where I was going up to movie theater workers and going, "Do you think of yourself as a superhero when you're wearing that?" And them going, "Are you crazy?" And so that's what got the ball rolling. But yeah, then just this idea of, what if what was appearing on the screen, wasn't just on the screen? How would you deal with that if that invaded real life? What would that mean?
And what are some of your, just real quick, what are some of your like favorite movies, would you say, in real life?
My favorite movies. The problem is that I'm going to say non-monster movies because I actually. But I mean, my two favorite movies of all time are Tombstone and My Fair Lady.
Wow, interesting. The classics, yeah. I haven't seen My Fair Lady, but I love Tombstone. That's a good one.
Yeah, they're quite good.
And what about if you had to choose monster movies? What would you choose?
I mean, it's not a great movie, but I love The Mummy. I actually think it's a fun movie.
The original one with
Brendan Fraser.
Nice, yeah. I love that
version.
Right. I mean, that's a great movie. It's got the guy from Spartacus. What's his name? Oh shoot.
Oh yeah, no, John Hannah.
Yeah, John Hannah. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that guy.
he was on Agents of Shield too. I think the
Yeah, he was. You're right. Yeah,
right.
yeah,
That's
he
him.
was.
I mean, he's aged, and now he looks kind of like a British Clint Eastwood, something like that.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, yeah, he's
He looks like
great,
really
man.
tough.
But no, yeah, I mean, I love his. He's one of the funniest characters in the Mummy movie. He's great. Uh, he plays the comedic relief character. I don't know if you remember him, Jeremy.
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he's like running around there. But yeah, no, the Mummy is fun. It definitely is better than the Tom Cruise Mummy,
Oh, good lord.
Oh yeah, I know.
hands
Yeah.
down.
I recently saw that. It just seemed like a wish fulfillment movie.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I mean, it's they wanted to start the Dark Universe, but it's they totally screwed that up big
Yeah,
time.
I know what the problem was. Is they had a young director that couldn't say no to Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise
Mm.
brought in his own scriptwriters and made it all about Tom Cruise.
Ah,
He probably insisted on and got script approval, which means that he's effectively the co-director at that point.
yeah, that's dumb.
You know what's
Wow.
weird about that movie? That
Huh.
even considering that Tom Cruise had like total control of the project, he's not even that much in the movie itself. I mean, he doesn't get much to do. Barely has any dialogue.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, he has much more dialogue in, I don't know, Jack Reacher, for example. I mean,
Or a Mission Impossible movie?
yeah, he barely says anything in this one. He's like trying to be like, I don't know, Chris Pratt's character from Guardians of the Galaxy, this kind of lovable rogue, but they don't give him anything to be lovable about.
You know, I think it's
Barely has any dialogue. I don't know.
it probably comes from the fact that I think it was probably originally supposed to be more about the Mummy character, and if like what you're saying is true, where Tom Cruise comes in and takes control, he probably like he says, "Let's make it all about me." So they had to take a existing script and somehow make it about this other character, and there's just nothing there.
That is, you just hit the nail on the head. The original script had a lot more to do with the mummy and the creature, and they cut a lot of that out and just inserted Tom Cruise in there.
Wow. Well, that's why you ruin the freaking Dark Universe. You don't make it about the monsters. You make it about if you want to do a Dark Universe right, you focus on the monsters. You know, but they obviously didn't get that idea.
Yeah. I guess he wanted to be the mummy because in the end they kind of tell you that he's been resurrected and now wears
What?
bandages and whatnot.
What?
So he's the mummy now, something like that.
What the heck?
Yeah,
That's so weird.
He ends up taking on like all the powers of like
Oh,
Anubis or
God.
whatever. That's why I said it's a wish fulfillment movie. They just
Oh,
basically
my
like Tom Cruise inserted himself as like the center of this universe, and everyone was just kind of like, no, I don't want to do this.
Dude, that's awful.
Yeah, which is kind of, there was so much potential in there too. Like you had like Russell Crowe as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and they were like teasing little things like Dracula, the creature from the Black Lagoon. There's so much potential, and it just kind of got tossed away.
Well, they did the whole DC thing where they want to rush it. They want to get to the part where everything is connected too fast. And you need to focus on making a good movie before you can do that. I mean, that's why the Marvel movies have worked for up until
Yeah.
now, at the very least.
Zach said it the other day. I think he's right when he says that it's a mistake to try and create a universe from the get-go. You should first try to make a story, make it good, and maybe hint at some loose ends or some other like parallel subplots that don't get resolved. But don't try to create a whole universe from the beginning. That's not how it works.
Yeah, that's interesting. You kind of have to work up to it in a way. But I mean, it is possible. I mean, we're seeing the Mythoverse launching, and but I think what I like about Mythoverse is that they are doing it the right way. They have 3 solid, strong comics that aren't just
Yeah, I mean, I don't think
know.
it was the idea to launch a universe from
True.
day one. I mean,
That's very
they
true.
were just
actually.
they just joining comics together and create a universe
Yeah,
from
yeah.
that.
They
That
loved each
sounds
other's projects.
exactly.
It was
So
kind of it's almost like the Brady Bunch, That's the way they became the Mythoverse.
That's gonna be the theme song. I wonder which one Brett, Matt, and Dan are. Which characters there. Oh Oh man. You know, I think one movie universe that I think is doing it right is the Godzilla movie universe. I think they're doing pretty cool stuff. You know, have you guys seen those movies yet?
I saw the one a couple years ago. Was there a recent one?
There's a Kong movie that's also part of the same universe, Kong Skull Island, that came out a couple years
Okay,
ago with Richard C. Riley. Sorry, go ahead.
and Godzilla versus Kong is coming out next year.
That's right, yeah. And then this year is Godzilla King of Monsters.
Mhm.
So yeah, a lot. I think they're
Is
doing.
that in,
So,
I was
go
going to say,
ahead.
is that in the same universe as the this Japanese guy, the random fighter meme guy Godzilla from like 5 years ago?
I don't think
Is
so. I
that like
think
a
it's like
sequel?
I think it's I think they're keeping it separate from like all the Japanese films.
Mm.
That's my understanding at the very least.
Yeah, no, but there was a
I don't
Godzilla,
know, man.
several years ago. There was a Godzilla movie.
So you're talking about Shin Godzilla?
It was. I'm just trying to remember the name of it.
Was it the one with the glowing one where he was kind of red?
He was sort of blue.
Blue? Oh, I don't know. Oh, I think that is that the American one? Was it American made
Yeah,
or
yeah, it was. It came out in
with
like.
Kick-Ass guy, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I like that was the
Yeah.
first one they started the new universe. Was
Okay.
that one? Yeah.
Is that the one where he attacks San Francisco, or am I thinking of a different one?
I think so. He
Yeah,
attacked
it was-
Hawaii and possibly San Francisco and I think a couple other places.
It was San Fran, and he was like fighting off like I think Mothra and.
Yeah, well, or some creep. They made him up for the movie. They were like some weird ass bug
Yeah,
looking
that
things.
was that the ones with the mutos?
I think so. Yeah, they called them the Mutos. They were like these long-legged thingies.
Yeah.
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 I'm so confused with the modern Godzilla chronology. I don't know where's
Oh man, but Canales Decimators. Well, actually, before I talk to you about Decimators, how are your crowdfunding campaigns going? Because I know you're actually involved in a number of them.
yeah. I'm running two right now, and one of them is the abductables. It's at 74% right now, which is not bad. We still have
Nice.
thank you. 2 weeks left to fulfill it, so hopefully we'll get there. And I also have Necromancer Tombstone Loose. Let me check that out. I think this is doing slightly worse, but probably because we're stepping in on each other's toes. We're competing against ourselves here, but it's at 12%, but we still have 50 more days to go. So
Okay, so plenty of
who knows?
time to bring it up. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm assuming probably people who back the abductables can't afford to back Necromancer the same month, so maybe they're waiting for the next month to do so.
Which is nice. There's going to be a lot of time to do that.
Yeah, but no, I'm pretty happy. We have like 128 backers for the abductables, which is it's quite a lot from at least for me for a more or less nobody such as I. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about it.
The abductables is doing well. I think you're right that you're competing with yourself here. But I would also punch it like the minute you're done with abductables. I would get out there and hit Necromancer as hard as you possibly can, because you have a lower funding goal. It'd be actually pretty easy to hit if you and some other people just promoted it like crazy for about a week.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it's just $2,000. It's not too much. I mean, I think we had that for the abductables in the first 10 days of the campaign, something like that. So yeah.
Yeah, it's doable. Yeah. Well, that's exciting. Yeah, I mean, those are both really cool properties. So different. One's alien sci-fi, and the other one's like I don't even know what to describe it.
Yeah, that's the thing about Necromancer, right? How to market it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like almost like occult cyberpunk or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I always for people who are nerds, I tell them that it's like Shadowrun.
Interesting.
And for people who aren't, they told them it's like Tolkien meets Blade Runner.
Okay, so it really is like Shadowrun.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's like mythological occult cyberpunk.
Interesting. Yeah. That's always a cool combination. Tombstone Blues. I mean, you go to the Indiegogo page and I really just like the splash image that you guys have up there. Let me pull it up here. I'm gonna go ahead and screen share. My share. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Tombstone Blues. So yeah, that I love that the color work you did there.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's my finest work to date, if I may say
Really?
so myself.
Wow.
Yeah, it's my favorite cover of all that I've done so far.
Wow, that's awesome.
How do you color?
I use Photoshop, but I like to do the lines by hand first. It's that's actually a pencil sketch that I later scanned and post produced on Photoshop.
Okay. And so you don't scan your inks, you just scan your pencils?
Yeah, I'm still learning how to ink. I had no idea how to ink until I start watching EBS videos and I saw him use the Copics and all that. So yeah, I'm more of a pencil guy. I think the people who backed Ironsides can see that. I'm more of a penciler than an inker, really. But
Really?
thank you, Photoshop. Yeah. Actually, Decimators is probably my most experimental work regarding inking, because I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I was like trying on pen brush and regular brushes and then markers and whatever I could get my hands on.
Yeah.
Like what do you mean exactly? Like we say brushes, so like paint
Yeah,
brushes and stuff like that, and
yeah, even like pen brushes,
pen
this
brushes.
yeah, they you hold them like well, it's like half a marker, half a brush. It's like the body of a marker, but the tip, instead of being a felt tip, it's like a brush. And so yeah, I used that for decimators. I also used like classic fine liners. I used Sharpies. I used everything. It was a matter of, let's see what happens if I use this.
Interesting. Well, that's cool that you experiment with the different styles like that.
Yeah, since it was my own comic and I wasn't putting anyone else's reputation at risk, it was like, let's let's see, let's go
Let's go wild here.
wall experimental. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I'm definitely gonna be backing those pretty quick myself. I've been having my eye on them, but
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, definitely. Those are some cool projects right there.
Is
Yeah.
so on both of those you have the Indiegogo. Do you know what you're going to do for getting the books out there after the fact?
I have no idea. I have to trust Michael for the adaptables and Jacob for Tombstone Blues. As I said before, I'm no fulfiller. I have no idea how to do it. But yeah, I think it's going to be a problem for people. Well, not really a problem, but it's going to be slightly more difficult for people outside the United States, because I have friends here that have backed it too. And I think the shipping costs are going to be like a nasty surprise for them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, it's just one of the big hurdles, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's one of the things that we comic skaters have to sort out, the whole shipping and distributing and all that process. That's going to be the biggest hurdle for us if we want to take over the industry. That is.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. Yeah, that and distribution. Speaking of which, I just want to really touch on real quick. What do you guys think about this whole alternate distribution program for comics?
Yes, so much yes.
Right? Have you heard of this yet, Ebi? You might not have heard of this.
I was on a live stream the other day with Peter Simeti, but I didn't have the time or the inclination to look into it because I was drawing at the time. I was just listening to it.
Okay, so he's doing a Indiegogo right now for an expansion. It's still got, I think, like 9 days left, something like that. But basically what it is it's going to expand their storage space to be able to ship out more comics, but it's also the first step towards alternate distribution, a distribution for indie creators and publishers like ourselves.
Well, I think that's a brilliant idea.
Right? I mean, I think that would be such an amazing to have a true alternative to Diamond.
Yeah, because
that's a big
Diamond
deal.
right now, that's a monopoly, right?
Oh yeah.
It's not a legal monopoly, and they don't have any actual, like, there's nothing keeping someone from competing with them. And so Peter is saying, "Well, why don't I compete with him then?"
Right? I mean,
I like how he thinks.
Yeah.
yeah, for real. He's very bold. That's for sure.
Yeah,
He's
I think
got a
it's
lot of big
also
dreams.
stems from he's had a lot of problems with him too.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah, you're probably right. Actually, yeah.
They absolutely suck at if you're now. There's different ways that you can relate to Diamond. They're either your exclusive or your non-exclusive distributor, right? And if they're your exclusive distributor, I think that they'll treat you a little bit better. But if you're non-exclusive, like a lot of indies are, um, then they absolutely suck when it comes to reorders. So they'll just cancel thousands of they on Peter. He had thousands of reorders last year just canceled because Diamond didn't feel like fulfilling them.
Jeez, they just didn't feel like it.
Yeah. And yeah, so they're not a reliable reorder service for anybody except like, Marvel or the big ones. They'll fulfill reorders, but anyone else that's small enough or doesn't have an exclusive deal with them, yeah, they won't. They'll just cancel it.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
that's
really
the thing about being a monopoly, right? You don't have to put up a good work because there's no one to compete with you.
Exactly.
yeah. That's pretty scary, and the fact that like everyone in the country uses it. I mean, that's the power right there. You know.
Yeah, I think he also had an issue where he submitted a comic and then they made an error on the printing and then fined him for it.
Yeah, they're
Wow.
always trying to fine him. Yes, they've made errors and he's gotten fined for them. There's also, they're the gatekeepers for Free Comic Book Day, and they were Alterna was trying to do a comic through Free Comic Book Day, and it met all the guidelines, but Diamond just basically said, "Screw you, go away."
Well, yeah. I mean, that's not
Amazing.
cool. But that's why we got to build up our the indie distribution side. I think that's why this is such a good big step. And
Well, one of the things I like that Peter's not just going to go after comic book shops, right? He's going to want to put spinner racks in, or he's going to want to go obviously distribute comics to dollar stores, to supermarkets, to you name it. He wants to get comics wherever people who might read comics are.
yeah, it's a pretty smart way to go about it,
Yeah.
Now we are getting close to the end of the hour here. As we start wrapping up, why don't we tell us any final words about the upcoming Indiegogo you got coming on, Jeremy, and then where people can find you as well.
Yeah, you can find me at Jeremy Lot on Twitter at Jeremy Lot Diary, JeremyLottDiary, and on April 1st I will launch an Indiegogo for Movie Men, and it is not a joke. And I wrote it, and artist Doug Curtis arted it, and it is a fun story that a lot of people will enjoy, and we put our hearts into this, and I really hope you'll check it out.
That's awesome. I'm so excited for that. And you know what? I don't think. Yeah, let's. We should schedule a creator interview.
Sure.
To get people psyched up for that. So we'll talk about that later for sure.
Okay, sounds good.
And then Scott, you got a campaign coming up in about a month or so. What do you got going on with that, and where can people find you?
So yeah, like I said earlier, we're shooting for May 3rd. Right now, I'm getting stuff back from my artist, Drew Smith. So I'm going to be posting that up on my Twitter page. You can follow me at Kishkumen, KYSHKUMEN, and I'll just be posting and building momentum there.
Excellent. We're definitely looking forward to that, and I'm sure once people start seeing some art, they're going to be really excited about backing that one too.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to getting her version of the little rage puppy here, my creature, and
nice.
especially getting him on the page because I've got some ideas and I'm hoping they translate well on that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think her art style is going to fit perfect for that. But and then Canales, not coming back to Twitter, I guess.
Not immediately. Maybe you guys should all come to Gap. I mean, because
Gap?
yeah, Gap. It's the kingdom of the fascist frog. It's this
Uh,
social network where there's absolute free speech, and the bad thing about Gap is that no one's there ever. It's kind of lonely. So yeah, it's basically you just yelling at the sky and saying, "I hate you all," and nobody replies.
I'm gonna put it in the YouTube link so people, if they're interested in going to check out the Free Socialist Network, Free Speech Social Network. Sorry, sorry.
Yeah, it's not socialist. You're
My
gonna
bad.
scare
My
people
bad.
away.
I didn't mean to say that. It's the
But yeah,
Free
no,
Social Network.
I've been told that I should create like a totally secret identity on Twitter and use a different IP, and so everyone will know that it's me, but no one can prove it.
Yeah,
Maybe I will. Maybe I will.
is that how they're getting you with the IP address?
I don't know because the last time I tried to create a new account on Twitter, they actually well, I did restart the router, so I thought I had a new IP address. But the moment I began typing my name and then my privacy settings and all that, I was bam, 10 minutes I was out.
I wonder, what the best way you would probably just use a virtual private network and trick them into thinking you're over here in America. Then
Yeah.
that would fool them probably. I did, yeah. That's always a fun way to get around stuff. But yeah, no, I'd love to see you come back. Maybe we could
I
set up
know,
some
I
sort
know.
of fan page for you, or some sort of Twitter ban, donation fund, something to help you out with that hard times that you're going through with your Twitter
Yeah,
withdrawal.
yeah, it's freaking terrible. I mugged an old lady the other day too.
Oh my god, that was you. That was you. Oh my
It was
god.
me. Don't judge me. I have to mitigate my Twitter withdrawal syndrome.
Alright, sometimes
Fortunately, she was a scroll.
right.
She totally was a scroll.
Yeah, exactly. She's a bottled body double and everything, so no worries there. Oh man.
Yeah,
So yeah,
and my psychiatrist has said that I have to stop writing hashtag on the walls of my padded cell, or I'm out of the madhouse.
only 60 more days to go, and then you're out of there, man. So where can people follow you?
Well, they can find me on Facebook, the old musty network that no one uses anymore. Or they can find me on Gap. I also have a DeviantArt page that I don't give it nearly enough love as much as I should. So yeah, I have look up Canalus on DeviantArt. And yeah, I don't know. Go check my Indiegogos. I'm always reading the updates and stuff on my Indiegogo, so that's a good way of contacting me.
And now, is this you on Gab here? Oh yeah, it looks like I'll post your Gab link in the chat just in case anyone wants to go check out what Gab's all about.
Watch you shout at this guy.
Right?
Yeah, that's either me or someone who looks like me and has the same taste on art.
It's if it is, it's remarkably close. Well, thanks again, guys, for joining us for the podcast. I always feel like this hour goes by so fast. It was a pleasure talking to you guys.
My pleasure was all mine. See you. Bye.
See you guys.
Same here.
Have a fun time, Splurks.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good luck, Sporks.
Hey, Spork.
A lot of love for the spork.
What's up, guys?
Hey, what's up?
Let's just wait for you guys. Hey, Canales. I didn't get to say here. That's okay. Yeah, I actually gave him a reply back. I actually backed the deductibles and stuff like that. So Jack just said he's going to be in here in a moment. He's got some technical difficulties.
Oh, good.
So,
thank you. I appreciate that. I was actually just thinking about that.
Yeah.
So, how are you guys doing? How you been?
I am good. But yesterday Eric brought over a cabinet, and I actually fell and hit my back.
Oh God,
I'm okay, but I'm pretty sore. So
sorry.
It was really ugly looking. Like I thought he was going to be paralyzed or something.
Jesus Christ! Oh God.
Oh, and the way I hit it too. What had happened basically, we were carrying the cabinet in, but with those from the way they are, those angles on the bottom. Well, apparently, I guess the screws came loose and the whole front end of it came in, and I fell back because I also fell backwards, and my foot hit the back of the thing and came right down on the edge of the step, right on the lower back part. So yeah, I've been popping Tylenol all night last night. And,
so you don't think it's anything too serious though? Just banged up a bit.
Yeah, just a little banged up, but I'm okay. So
well, that's good. I'm glad to hear it's could as far as it goes, it sounds like it wasn't too bad, but I hope you feel better soon.
Yeah, not a problem.
Definitely take those painkillers.
For sure.
And then we'll get you back on your feet.
For sure.
But other than that, I mean, other than injuring yourself, how are things going? Smoother, I hope.
For both of us, I would say, don't you agree, Eric? We've been both like running ragged.
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, especially with your move, right?
Yeah. Well, and the problem is while I've been off work, for those that don't know, I'm self-employed and work from home.
Wow.
And so, when we actually started packing up the business, it wasn't just moving, our home. It was me moving my business and my work. And orders were just accumulating the whole time. And I start getting emails, oh, when's my order going to ship? And I'm like, well, the workshop's not back up yet. And I'm hoping to actually start being able to produce stuff this week, finally. And I'll be able to get some of those orders filled because I'm backlogged like over 30 people.
Jeez, you're going to have to put in a long work day.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, yeah. I'm hoping things will settle down then. Yeah, because that sounds like you guys have been having a long couple months.
Yeah, we did, but like the worst part is over. Like moving and settlement, getting the house sold, getting the new one, all that paperwork and stuff. All that's behind us at least. So now it's just taking what we have and moving it around and getting everything put away and stuff like that.
Nice, yeah. And once that's all done, what's the game plan after that? What do you guys got going on?
Well, as you guys know, we launch our campaign in 5 days. So
that's right. I do know.
Yeah, and so we got a lot going on here. Eric, meanwhile, in terms of the sport campaign, he'll be working on the action figures for the campaign. Because we're gonna have a limited set of those available.
How many are you gonna have?
4.
4? And at what tier level?
That's gonna be at 150.
Nice, dude.
So 150 basically will get you the action figure. It'll get you the trade paperback, all 4 individual issues. Volume 1, 2, and 3. You'll get the kill box poster and the Sporkman decal.
That's a good deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
a lot of it is the reason why the price is so high is because of the amount of time Eric is spending working the figure. Because this just because it's not just something of taking a figure and doing it. He's got to mold the head. He's got to mold the gauntlets. So
it is a hand molded figure then.
Well, the basic figure is a blank where you can actually get blanks where it's just a basic male or basic female body or whatever. Cool. And I can get them in red, and so I'm like, oh, that's going to save some painting and stuff like that.
Nice.
But so I'm taking that, and that right there just out of pocket's over $20 just to buy that buck.
Oh, wow.
And then like I hand sculpted the helmet and the shoulder pads and the sport gauntlets and stuff, and then that's being molded, and I'm casting the parts from that.
I see. Yeah, that's
for the figure.
Very cool.
Yeah, and I mean, if people aren't familiar with the going price for custom action figures, like you can easily spend $40 or $50 and up for custom action figures, stuff like that. And you're getting something where not all the parts are sculpted on. I mean, some of them are being professionally produced specifically to do those 4 figures. And the reason why we ended it at 4 is not only the fact that I have to actually physically make all of these and paint them, but part of the value is the exclusiveness of it. That I'm not making 100 of them or whatever. So
I see. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and then down the road, we want to. Plus, we also want to do. These are just limited ones, so down the road, we want to do a completely different figure where we get them done like they do professionally. You know what I mean? Like with the Star Wars figures and stuff like that. So they're going to be a lot. It's Spork and all the other stuff are going to be completely different. So these are just going to be limited figures. So and that could be a couple years down the road before we get to those. So
Okay. Yeah. No, that sounds really cool.
And then other than that, we got we got Brad Ashworth doing the cover for Sporkman. And we got he's in the inking process, I believe, right now. Eric, is that correct? I think.
yeah, he said he was getting ready to start inking stuff.
Yeah. So and we saw what it looks like, looking really good. There's a couple things we need to get him to tweak up. He'll do post editing when he gets to the computer part. But yeah, so he is also open to selling the original art piece in a tier. So we are going to offer that, and we're also going to offer the kill box one. So we got a lot of good things going on, a lot of good things, and also we told Eric the other day we're also going to be doing possibly a radio drama with Sporkman. It's not going to be the current Sporkman. It's going to be an earlier Sporkman, kind of set in an earlier time frame and stuff like that. So I'm working with somebody on that, and
That sounds fun. Yeah.
yeah, and we're gonna hopefully if we can get one of those episodes done, that'll be out for the backers of the campaign. And
Nice,
then I was also talking with Sashi. I am looking to possibly get her to do something for the campaign too.
Okay. Yeah. No,
So-
that all sounds really good. It sounds like you guys got a lot of good stuff going on right now, and but we'll be talking a lot about the Indiegogo as we get up to that. But Cody has joined us now, and how's it going, Cody?
Howdy, folks.
What you been up to, man?
Oh, good. The grindstone,
The good old
Just
Jack
working it out,
grindstone.
Yeah. It's you forget how slow things actually are until they speed up, and it's a good thing that the work's starting to speed up for me last few days. But yeah, it's tiring.
Yeah. Hey, man, you're in it for the long haul. You got to be like
Yep.
Jack Irons, man. You got to be immortal.
Working on it.
Right? Yeah, it's work. It's a work in progress.
Yes. Indeed.
But thanks for joining us. I know you're having some technical difficulties there.
Oh, that was just it wouldn't let me open Hangout till I deleted some things off of this
Okay.
little thing I'm talking into, and that just took a minute.
But so things are moving along. You said on your project.
Yeah. So one big thing I'll start off with is after a little bit of bumps in the road with colorists, which was disappointing, but it happens with a project that's spanning this amount of time. I of course had to switch colorists, and I was after we it must have been almost a month now that we had been trying different colorists on pages. We finally found one called Steve Cannon or Steve Canyon. I'm not quite sure the pronunciation, but he's extremely talented, and I'm really excited to see what he does with issue 2. And I think it'll keep up with the incredibly high standard. A lot of the trouble I had that Matthias put forward in issue 1. So a long search I think is over. So I'm glad at that, and so. And line art, all the line art should be in this evening, except for the cover. And so we're right there at that home stretch. So I've got to crank out how I script to the pages so I can get it to Vince for lettering as the colored pages come in. So it's about to ramp up and then be finished. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Something that I always thought was interesting, and you've noted this before, but that this is I think 4 years after the creation of the original line art.
Yeah,
So
something like that.
it's
So
interesting to it's interesting see his evolution as an artist.
Yeah, right away. Even last year when I started getting the first couple pages in, I noticed right away. You look away for a certain amount of time, and you look back, and yes, things can change quite a lot, which also I think helps with issue 2, having a different colorist. Luckily, since the line art has also changed, it's gonna feel like a new book, but it's gonna feel like what I started with the first issue. So that's good, and I
A little
think
bit of
that's
old, a little bit of new.
exactly. And I'm hoping that this team's the one I hold on to for the rest of the arc. And it's
Good.
kind of nice because issue 1 is sort of an issue 0. In fact, during the campaign, I had asked if it was. If I could, if the backers would be all right if I renumbered the 2 issues to a number 0 and a number 1. I decided against that because it's not necessary, and people like that nice number 1 on the book, and so that's what we went with. But technically, they are separate enough that you could look at them that way as well. So it's been a lot of adapting, but I think we're coming out with something people will like as much as I do, and I adore it.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I know. I know you've kind of in between crowdfunding campaigns at the moment, so it's kind of a different kind of a time for you, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I've only, technically I ran the 1 twice,
Hmm.
but I've really only ran 1. The first one, it was just kind of, I shot it out there, and I did what I could with the limited platform I had, but I didn't do as much as I could that first time. Second time, it worked out. So I'm excited to get issue 2 out to everybody, see the reaction, and then go from there with my plans. Hopefully towards this summer. Maybe a little before the summer, but I'm thinking the summer we'll be launching a campaign for issue 3, and either 3, 4, and 5, or 3 and some surprise kind of titles coming down the line. I'll have to figure that out, but I got a few months, so
Yeah,
I'll have it together.
The Ironverse is growing at a rapid rate.
Oh yeah. I'm lucky enough. Every title has an artist attached. Been getting a couple concepts in from the teams. Coyote almost finished the first 40-page manga, which I got a letter. So that's another project I got to somehow fit in there while I'm polishing Jack 2 to a nice sheen. But yeah, it's like I said, just a lot of nose to the grindstone.
That's always good though.
Yeah.
But Eric and Chuck, you guys kind of have a bit of experience with in Indiegogo yourselves, isn't that right? Or
Yeah, fortunately or unfortunately.
Yeah. So we actually have 2. Eric did 1, and then our first one for this first Sporkman failed. So we're this is like number 2.5.
Right.
Well, my Indiegogo didn't have anything to do with comics. So.
Oh, really interesting.
So
okay.
I don't really count that as far as like what we've done.
It gives you a little bit of experience at the very least with the platform and how that kind of works.
I realized that quite honestly, at least for the one that I had to run, I had to throw the net so wide and stuff, and man, it was like a part-time, if not full-time job on top of my regular full-time job, just promoting, and trying everywhere to get the word out. It was it was exhausting, and I did research going into ever starting a crowd fund, and I've heard from other people that ran successful ones. They're like, yeah, like quite literally, it becomes another job almost.
Yeah, no, I could really see that.
It did for me, no question.
Really,
it was every day. I was lucky enough to have the time to put into it. Not everybody who needs to run crowdfunding to get their dreams through has the time I was lucky enough to have last year. But I needed that time. There was no question. I needed to be able to sit in front and promote and talk to people and get on shows and just meet and socialize, network, and get the word out to every place I could as often and as frequently as I could. And yeah, it's exhausting. It is draining. I'm kind of excited because it also has a perpetual energy to it if you do it right. And there's a lot of, particularly in comics, at least with my last one, the fan art explodes, and there's a lot more interaction. A lot of people, positive interaction, just people wanting to talk to you about your book or wanting to buy your book or having a comment on something, and that's fun. And I kind of miss the excitement that comes with the campaign, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to the energy it takes and how draining it is.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting point. But I mean, speaking, you said you guys mentioned you had an earlier campaign for Sporkman, and have you guys learned are there things you guys have learned now that you think you are tooling to make this one work a little bit better for you guys?
I'm hoping. Honestly, the biggest thing that I've learned is shipping.
Really?
Yeah, people are not willing to budge on the shipping. I was trying to do like where I would charge one price for the shipping and handling for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like a lot of people were not really down with that.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Well, and the weird thing about that is, and I think it's where people need to change their mindset is, shipping costs what it costs. Like, none of us creators are saying, yep, shipping costs this much because we want it to cost that much. No, I mean that there is an expense involved, and unfortunately with comics, you're talking about a lot of very lightweight and easy to ship things, but they still have a given cost. And it's horrible to look at a comic and say, oh, it's like a $4 comic. Why does it cost me, that much, if not more, to ship it? And it's like, well, that's just life. That's what things cost.
I always come back to the fact of what people don't think of. Okay, so you go to your LCS. You pick up a comic for $5. All right, so you got your tax. Well, you're not factoring in the time it took you to drive to your LCS. You're not taking into account the gas that you're spending to go to your LCS. By then, you're at the point that it costs to ship something to you.
Well, and the other thing too with a comic, okay, if you bag and board it, there's a cost. If you have to buy the envelope to ship it in, there's
the cost, yeah.
And those can sometimes be like $1 just right there. So there's all these little costs factored in that I think a lot of people don't understand. And I know for me, for personally my campaign, I don't know if it was a factor so much with our Sporkman campaign, but make sure never to feel too comfortable with the amount of support you have. It doesn't matter if everyone's coming out of the woodwork saying they're going to back you. You have to constantly act like you have almost no backers, and you have to promote just as hard if you're 75% funded as if you're 0% funded. Don't ever go into your campaign feeling like you've promoted it enough, because you probably haven't. Yeah.
Because you can't do enough. You can't do enough, and I'm even worried about my backer retention. And of course I'm hopeful because the project has shown me to be so. But the fact of the matter is that the hard truth is that it's quite possible any of these can fail. So you have
Cody,
to go into it life or death.
Cody, let me get your opinion on this, because Chuck and I and Mike were talking about this before, and I said one thing I'm worried about is that the crowdfunding is great to get stuff out there that you otherwise couldn't raise the funds for, but Chuck and I were saying that we kind of feel like so much of getting funded is now wrapped up into quote unquote the event and the spectacle and the promotion and all that excitement. But really, the thing that kind of worries me about things moving in that direction is that kind of thing is not sustainable long term. I mean, there's only so much. I think even as creators, you're willing to keep doing a big event for just every issue that you put out, and
Yeah,
at some point, I think things have to become sustainable, where you say, you know what, I'm now at the point I can put out, say, issue 4 or 5, and I know I'm gonna get enough pre-orders or something for it, to keep it going without always having to do a crowd fund. And you know what I'm seeing in the indie comics scene is everyone's doing a crowd fund. That's great to start, but I'm seeing it, us as creators, becoming very dependent on that kind of system, issue after issue after issue. And I really hope that the readership, can adapt and say, you know what, I don't need a spectacle every time. I just like the content. Therefore, I'm going to line up and support, the next issue coming out without it having to be a huge deal.
Yeah, that would be great. Honestly, I'd love the old system where a publisher handles promotion and and selling the book to make their part of the money, and the creators can just look back and create. But that's just in the independent market, it's just not feasible. And so, like you said, you have to get your capital from somewhere. Most people don't want to deal with banks anymore because they can straight up ruin your life. So you go to crowdfunding. And so some books, in particular comics, I don't follow crowdfunding and a lot of other things. I know tech, if you have a really good piece of tech, that'll always do well. But in terms of comic books, without a spectacle or without a built-in fan base, like a lot of books that come out of nowhere and earn a couple $100,000, had a huge Instagram base. But there's it's I really do wish it didn't have to be a circus, because I'm not a big fan of being a ringleader. I really am not, and having to get everybody to jump through and then having to hustle so hard. But that's the market we're in right now, where it's such a stranglehold on new ideas and keeping the focus on the big guys, that the only way to punch through is with that big spectacle. And I don't blame people for it. But yeah, I agree. I really wish there was another method that didn't facilitate big personalities that kind of become more important than the work they're putting out. That's all part of the circus too, and that bothers me a little bit. There's a lot of parts I don't like, but again, I try to focus on the good, and that's the fun interaction that comes from it. But yeah, I would love a better business model, and I hope it becomes easier out there. I think indie's really fighting for it. A lot of publishers quieter than others. And I think maybe next decade we're going to be looking at a completely different landscape, and hopefully for the better, honestly.
Yeah.
I think that's where the if the I know you were talking on the last stream there, Mike. If the alternative model really goes big and works, that could really change the landscape of how things are done.
That's so true. Yeah, no, that's a great point. With opening up a huge distribution to indies, I mean that'd be big. I mean, think about it. He's ordered over 200, I think 200 or 300 stores, direct distribution, something like that, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
That's a big deal. Newsstands.
That's a huge deal.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm really hoping that just can keep on chugging with as much and so much more support than it's been getting.
Oh, I hope so too.
I'm glad he's getting that storage, and I'm glad that he's working towards it, because that's just exciting as hell for me. Pete's a great guy, and I'm always happy to see him succeed and
the
putting
key
out
then,
the indie growth.
The key then will be utilizing for groups like us, is utilizing those, utilizing his service in addition to finding other services and building our own as well, like our own distribution network up, and using all those resources to build this huge network.
Exactly, and as that happens, just word of mouth of this grows naturally, and that's what I like about it. Because if Alterna starts getting other books in stores besides Alterna, stores will notice, and they'll be like, "Hey, what's Alterna doing right here? That's weird. That's not their book."
Yeah, I'm no longer I'm no longer beholden to Diamond. So hey, now I can get. Yeah, just to let you guys know, they are at 4284 of their 2,500 fixed goal for expanding.
And they, I'm hoping they get to the $8,000 stretch goal. If they get there, they'll get the big upgrade to the 20. Was it a 10 by 20 storage unit? It's a 10. I think it's like a 10 foot upgrade or something like that. It'd be huge. I mean, with that, they could store so many comics that'd be a big step towards alternative distribution, I think.
Yeah, and the bulk shipping materials is the other bit.
Yeah.
Which is great, I'm sure, because I can't imagine the cost when you're shipping out as many comics as he does.
God, I know, right? Jeez. Yeah, he must be inundated with materials.
Paper is a weird thing. You know, you have one, it's the lightest thing in the world. You get a bunch, and it's like the heaviest thing in the world.
That is really funny, dude.
So it's like shipping comics, man. If you're shipping in bulk, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that can add up. That's for sure. That's the other reason I wouldn't necessarily want to go with a fulfillment center. I think it was talked about that earlier, but you know, you have to ship all those comics to a fulfillment center to deal with. So. It's kind of
pain. So it's still too shipping costs anyway, and then you gotta pay for labor too.
Right?
Yeah.
We did a pretty good with Jack Irons, didn't we, Cody?
Oh, you guys have been doing great, and I'm stoked to see what happens when issue 2 goes out. Because honestly, I haven't heard anybody complain about the books coming in, getting beat up or anything, which is a trip because. Most of the orders I've gotten from a couple others, particularly with my PO, my post office service down here in New Mexico, they're a little rough, and so I've just been happy nobody's asked for any replacements or said that theirs came in beat up. I think part of it's because of the high quality paper you guys went with for the cover and for the stock, so the spine doesn't actually take damage that a little bit cheaper papers do take. So that's nice. So
yeah, you don't see the indents.
Issue, same thing.
Yeah, you don't see the creases and the indents as much. It does. It's pretty. Yeah, it holds up. Really.
Yeah, nice. Your printer. The issues of conventions we got were like really, really nice.
Oh, cool. I'll pass it along to him. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy with his work, and he's actually. I talked to him. He said he's going to be able to do the magazine with us.
Right on.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty cool.
Wait, a magazine? You're doing like a Wikid publishing?
Oh yeah, that's the big news. We announced sometime last weekend. It's called Wikid Magazine, and it's gonna be it's gonna have articles, news, reviews, comic books, short stories, previews.
I got a suggestion for a name. Just put it out there.
Okay, sure.
Wikid Warlock Magazine. Throw it back to the Wizard. I thought Wikid Wizard, but that's too close.
Yeah, right. That's interesting.
The other thing I was going to say about doing the Wikid magazine is bringing on like trusted reviewers, like say like Dollar Bin or DC United or something like that. Who could do like articles like that.
Yeah, I actually been talking with Duskwell. And he actually recommended me a few people. So you might be seeing some things like that coming pretty soon, actually. With
nice.
So yeah, I would definitely love to definitely kind of get those guys in there with their reviewing skills, and you know what I mean. I think that'd be a perfect combo. So definitely, yeah, that's a great move. I mean, we want it to be a place it's a quarterly magazine, so it'll come out 4 times a year. And we just want to have it packed full of really cool stuff. And I've decided I'm going to be doing my next comic, Endemic. I'm going to as part of the magazine. So we get a new issue each time. And
Nice.
yeah, I think I'm really excited about it. I'm working on the cover right now. Commissioning a cover piece from a really cool artist. I'll show you guys in the chat or in the group chat. But yeah, no, the Wikid magazine is gonna be cool. So if you guys want to contribute in any way, shape, or form, we would love that. Nerd.
Yeah, I'm sure I got something.
Real quick, I would love. Yeah, I definitely want your freaking articles, man. And real quick, couple of things in the chat. Cody, I guess said talking about Wizard, been dead nearly a decade.
Yeah.
And Nerd over 3 says, "Yep, Wizard died twice, if you ask me." And then Laguna Menuna says, "Need my blunt man in chronic news."
Oh, I'm stoked for Jay and Silent Bob 3. They go back to the Blunt Cave, so I'm super excited to see the new outfits and stuff. It's got to be a nostalgia trip.
That's funny, man.
And Matt brings up another proof that the SJW infection started before 2012.
Is that in regards to Wizard?
Yeah, there was a
assume
lot
so.
of stuff, a lot of funky stuff going on over there at that time frame. Like it almost like people, yeah, they basically got forced out of the business pretty much. So
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of dropped the publishing thing and just went for conventions.
Yeah.
And just solely went to that. I think part of it too is, at the time it was out, the internet wasn't quite what it is now. And I think a lot of times print media of any sort, even if you're just talking newspapers, is all kind of suffering because people can just go online. And they're like, okay, well, why do I need to physically have this when I can just look this up online?
Mm-hmm.
I think that was probably part of what was hitting Wizard a little bit. But with them also focusing more on conventions, it could have just been a business decision. They saw where the money was going. They saw that pop culture was getting bigger and bigger and more mainstream, and they said, hey, you know what? Rather than fight to sell a bunch of hard copy magazines, we can just get people to pay tickets at the door.
Yeah. No, that's an interesting model. I mean, a lot of magazines have struggled to find ways to do, keep up. Like a lot of them end up going digital.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, that was one thing I had to think about. Do we want to do a digital only or do we want to do a print? But I just think there'd be something really cool about having the print magazine.
Yeah, because I was kind of surprised when you said print, and I'm like, really?
I think there's a place for both. Like what you do is you do the print version first. So that way everybody comes out. Once you've done the print version, and if they've been shipped out, say like a week or two, you actually then put the digital version up online on the website to draw people into the website.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Always want to get your.
So the opposite of movie releases, where you can get the digital first.
Yeah. So get that way you get the people who want to get the print version, they get that first, and then the people who may not be interested in the print, they eventually they get that same content. But you can just do it off and say, hey, this is not always going to be online. It's a limited thing. You know what I mean?
Well, the other thing too is really your key demographic that you're trying to promote your magazine to are people that like hard copy stuff.
Yeah.
And I know for me, if it's something where it's not like a novel, where I'm sitting down with it or anything, for example, Game Informer, like I could get that digitally or hard copy. I said, if I get the digital version, I am never going to read it. I guarantee I am never once going to say, you know what, I'm going to go look at that online. But if it's in hard copy, throw it down on my coffee table. And, I can sit down, hey, I'm going to check this out and read it,
Right. Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I think it's, I was going to say for me, I think it's a separation of when I'm reading a physical book, I feel like I'm doing a separate task, but when I'm reading a digital, I feel like, oh, I'm just on my phone or I'm just on my computer or whatnot.
Yeah, and really, I mean, there's so much media out there that you're really like competing against millions of other people for someone's time. And so it's like if you are there physically in their face, they're probably going to be more likely to check it out than to say, "Oh, I'm going to log on here." They're because what's going to happen is they're going to go, "I'm going to check out the Wikid magazine. Oh, hey, what's going on Facebook right now?" Or, "Hey, look at this news story that came
Right.
up. Yeah, I'm going to shop for something at Amazon." You know, it's very easy for people to get distracted and go away. But if you're one of the few physical things in front of them, you kind of get a little bit of a monopoly on their attention, I think.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I think we'll start with the print and see how it goes, and go from there. And I know, Cody, you mentioned you might write some few things for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I wrote a few articles, about 6. I've told the Wikid crew about it. They were for an English blog, English comic blog, and I kind of just picked subjects I liked and kind of just pontificated about them.
Your Punisher one was really cool. I really liked that one.
Thank you. Yeah, that
You're
was the
welcome.
opening, the one where I was kind of like, well, if I don't do something good, at least I don't have to do it more. So I tried my hardest to make something good, and I think I did well with that one. It was kind of just a deep dive into the catharsis that comes with that kind of superhero. But yeah, I very much like that. I would love to do a piece reflecting on how this whole campaign has gone once we finish with 2. That would be great. I think I probably have a couple things I can maybe tell people that they might not realize or might not know going into indie crowdfunding.
So that'd be a really useful article, actually.
Yeah, I've got things to comment on running multiple teams of comic artists. There's a lot I can do. Short stories. I love doing that. So there's so many options. So I was happy when you guys said it, even if who knows how long it'll last. I'll be happy to. I just like contributing to that kind of stuff. So that would be fun. Because the last one with that blog, I got burnt out after 6 weeks of putting out 850 words a week. So
yeah, I don't know how you did that.
So I was just done. But 850 words. 1,600 words every couple months. Yeah, I could do that.
It gets it gets old.
So I'm working on the actual Indiegogo, and this is actually kind of an important thing. Do you guys know now that there's a change? As of December 1st, your campaign will automatically include a reserved funds feature.
Huh? What's that mean?
Once your campaign raises $1,000 in your currency, 5% will automatically be reserved for refunds and chargebacks.
What the heck? What does that mean? So wait, you want to have access to that funds, or
okay? So how they handled it before is they would cover any costs for refunds and in out. Even if say they don't have the money yet, they were kind of acting like a mini PayPal. So they would deal with all the bank transactions and stuff. So what this is that now they'll still deal with that, but now they're not playing with their money. So they won't
play with your buddy.
Yeah, exactly. So as long as people put in enough money, you're fine. And it sounds like they won't. That 5% doesn't get taken away at the end of the campaign or anything. It's reserved till then to pay for that.
Yeah, so after 6 months.
That's not so bad, but it is different. It is different.
So you won't have access to 5% of your funds for 6 months, basically?
Yep.
Wow. That's a little bit of a tricky spot.
Yeah, because I mean that could make or break it for people depending you know how tightly they budget that thing.
Seriously. I mean, then 6 months is a long time to have to wait if you're already ready to go on your project.
Yeah, what if you were going to deliver, say, like Zach in a couple projects? He's planning to release the Go-Go and then a month later fulfill because the book's already done. So he's going to have to make a lot of money. That's about the way you solve that problem.
You have to account for that now into your budget, I guess, saying like...
Yeah, I had already kind of plotted about 15% over what I need. So that means I'm only 10% over what I need, which is still good.
Yeah, so So just to think on $5,500, that's $275. Now that's also including the 8% for all the credit card fees and everything else.
Yeah. So it's about 30% that you won't have access to for up to 6 months, and then it only drops to that 8%.
Yeah.
So that's not great. I don't like that. But again, like Eric was saying, what's the a different model? You know, because of course this is unsustainable. Sooner or later, who knows what else they could change, and then you're relying on this one or two, if you include Kickstarter, platforms to reach your audience. And
Yeah,
you got to grow behind that, and you got to grow beyond middlemen as best.
Yeah, and not to mention that, I mean, no matter how much a creator wants to get their project out, you know, there's only so much energy they can put into something, and if they have to put as much effort as it takes to run a campaign in every single time they put out an issue, at some point, I think people are just going to say, you know what, I just don't have it in me anymore, you know, to keep going. I mean, imagine if you took any of the big names, say Spider-Man or something like that, and imagine if every month they had to run an Indiegogo campaign to get the next issue out. I honestly think they would just fold the company and say, hey, let's go do something else. When you talk about profit, you know, time is very important. And none of us creators really get paid for our time. We don't. As writers, we don't even really get paid for our time. About the only people getting paid for their time are the people doing the art, lettering, and all that kind of stuff. The people doing the writing, I hate to say it, but we're not the ones making money off our time. Most of us are just in it because we like it, because we're the creators. But you know what? There's only so much energy you can just keep putting into something that doesn't start sustaining itself.
Yeah.
Well, then I know we talked a little about this the other day too. But if there's some way to find another way to make it an event other than a crowdfund, I think that could be helpful. Like Cody, when me and Chuck and Eric were talking the other day, I brought up the whole Harry Potter fat. You know, when there would be like the midnight releases and everyone would line up. You know?
Oh, or like the Xbox Halo midnight
right?
releases,
How can you
that kind of?
Yeah. But think about it. If you took away that event, would they still make millions of dollars? Yeah, they still would, because they have that fan base that will come back because you're perpetually putting out content.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, any major company is not going to run day by day based on crowdfunding, based on an event. That's a great way to get something started. And that's the whole point of crowdfunding, is someone who can't even get their foot in the door, they now have a chance to do it. But I'm really concerned that from the consumer standpoint, that they want it all the time. And I made this comparison before. It's kind of like, why do people think everything is too expensive? Well, because they're used to Walmart. Walmart lowered the bar on pricing so that now when someone shops at a mom and pop store where, you know, they can't get the prices that low, people are like, that's too expensive. Look how much that costs. And it's because their mindset has changed, but that doesn't change reality, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm worried that so many people are going to be fixated on the event. And it's like, well, do you like the content? If you like the content, you should be supporting it, whether it's an event or not.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wish I saw a clear path to getting people to support like that. For instance, Rags, Patreon. That was his way to get a consistency, month to month paycheck for his artists and for his teams and for the project's growth. And I'm still not sure how he got so far, besides the quality of the product. But that's one way. But again, then you're relying on this middleman who's taking funds for your bit just to deal with the money, which always sucks. That's always annoying, that you're paying somebody for something that technically you could do by yourself.
Yeah.
but if there weren't so many
Well, in
middlemen
some ways, that's the cost of doing
deals.
business.
But,
I mean,
yeah,
I mean, PayPal, you know, almost all the money I make from my website goes through PayPal. PayPal
Yep.
takes a cut because they're processing it.
Yep. Yeah, and that's great. That's how they're sustainable. But again, it's two companies. It's Stripe and PayPal, with PayPal being like 70% and Stripe being about 12% of the market of internet financial transactions. So it's kind of fucked there. But but overall, it's all these monopolies are strangling because they need all the money, and it's just a lot of greed that's really making everything hard for everybody else. But there's not much we can do about that. So you got to kind of figure out how to work outside of it. And I still haven't seen a clear path. Rags is close. The next step from that would be, instead of going through Patreon, you would take the money yourself through your own website, but then you still need to deal with PayPal or Stripe. But then at least it's not two middlemen, it's just one. So that would be the next step, is if you could get a monthly subscription base, or if you could somehow make enough money to print enough to sell at a profit. It's tough out there, and I'm not sure the business end is too easy to get running to a point where it's a machine, without having to kick it every day to get it to kind of work right again. So a lot's got to change. Indie is helping a lot. It's changing people's perspectives. It's getting them to look elsewhere. It's giving them an outlet for their fuck the industry mentality, which we always need. But it's not at a point where even somebody like Ethan Van Sciver is looking for a monthly bit, because he made $500,000 with the camp. Why not just do a like a band does and do a world tour? You just do something, some big event, make all your money, and then you chill for however long, and then you do it again. I'm not a rock star in this industry, so I'm the ground level band who's touring around the entire state every fucking day to get out of state.
Nice.
That's just how the industry is, unless the mainstream picks you up. And the mainstream comic industry has no interest in indie talent. That used to be what it does. I just heard this in another stream, is that the old business model for about 30 years was, when the mainstream industry got stale and they stopped selling and they got in a rut, they'd look at the indies who were kicking their ass and they'd hire the indies, and then that would revitalize the mainstream. And then when those guys who were indie get fat and start ruining everything else again, then the cycle perpetuates. But they stopped hiring the good talent that wants to make better comics. And so the cycle's broken. And so now you have all this great talent in indie that's just waiting to get out. And the mainstream just like, this doesn't exist. Look at all our pretty things over here, because we're not making comics anymore. We're selling you a lifestyle. And that's not how you survive, Marvel. I'm sorry. You're not going to sell a bunch of goose printed napkins for dinner parties and such. That's not what you are, Marvel. You make
but there's no hurt in expansion, you know. You know what I mean? Like it's
but they're not expanding. They're contracting and then letting themselves atrophy. It's not like they're putting out more. It's not like they're bigger than they've ever been. It's not. So it's not expansion. It's contraction and readjustment of the business model, because the parent corporation doesn't believe the business model is tenable anymore. That's what I see. And so and it's not
they aren't willing to
anymore, but the industry's proved that by the creators they've bought and kind of filled their ranks with, that they can't change now. And so it's just all this toxicity and all this gnarliness with a few good gems, and then just a lot of stuff that a lot of mainstream comic fans just
there's also and I think part of it, you know, the comic industry isn't all that profitable either. They're very hesitant to take any risks. So if you had a choice, just saying in a vacuum, you say, look, we need to revitalize the company, and we can spend X amount of resources to launch something completely new and try to sell it to a fan base that doesn't exist yet for the product. Or we can try to rework, say Superman or something like that, which has been guaranteed to be a good seller even at its low point. And people are going to look and they're going to say, you know what, it's going to be easier to try to kick this into gear again than to spend all these resources on something.
Oh no, that's what I was talking
Yeah.
about. Is they'd hire indie talent to write their books. So
Yeah.
like they would hire somebody to write Superman and revitalize him. They're not doing that. They're hiring within journalistic circles, and they're hiring within basically any kind of ideological circles in a lot of cases. And some
Pulling
really,
people from Hollywood or something.
yeah, exactly. They go in with their heart into it. I've seen it, but it's not what they want to do. They want to make a movie. They want to make a script. They're not here like I don't have any specifics at the moment. I'm not a huge comic fan, but they put basically any of these weird shifts where it was like, we're not putting out Iron Man anymore, here's Riri Williams. We're not putting out this anymore, here's this. Thor's now a woman. And it's not anymore. They've been readjusting, but there's a lot of odd things they tried, which I'm happy they try, but that they refuse to admit any sort of failure, any sort of, you don't even have to call it failure, any sort of misstep. They can't. They're perfect, and that's not how it is.
Yeah, it's the fans that are wrong.
Yeah,
it's the fans that are wrong for not buying what they're putting out, right?
Yeah, and that's just it. It doesn't make any sense to me, and so we can't look at the mainstream to do what it's supposed to do for the industry. We have a very hard time making our own industry because of getting it out, getting it distributed, getting it sold, getting it, and people aware and engaging with it. It's tough. You need folks with reputations to come in and bring in those crowds. That happened, but sadly, also within indie, instead of there being an overarching philosophy of creators working together to push forward a medium, it's more creators working together to push forward themselves. And that bugs me also. And that culture is perpetuated by the need to do all these circuses. And I just, again, I do hope there's some sort of, there's a third option or a different option that just no one's seen. And somebody's going to be, hey, look at that. And it's just going to show up and revolutionize everything. That's the, I don't have any thoughts otherwise. I have a lot of hope in the industry as far as creative wise, but in terms of a business, they have shown me that it's just, it doesn't look up.
I don't know. I think I'm excited to see what we can do all together as a brand,
Exactly. No, within our own circles and within what it is to be indie, I think the successes are all there for everybody for the taking. It's they're not going to be as massive as they could be and should be, because it's a different environment than it's ever been.
It might just take time,
Yep.
And I do think there is, for indies, there is strength in numbers. Whereas, if any one of us individually was trying to promote this, our product, it would be a lot harder than, say, for example, we're signed with Wikid Publishing, and Wikid Publishing isn't trying to sell an issue. They're trying to sell a catalog of products, which, there's definitely strength in that.
Oh, absolutely. I agree 100%.
Because everything then kind of also promotes each other. Sporkman promotes Jack Irons and vice versa, and everyone else signed. There's a lot of cross promotion and stuff. Whereas if you or I were just going out in a vacuum trying to sell people to buy a bunch of issues of our comic, it would be ridiculous.
Yeah, I still am surprised I got anywhere. I'm not sure how it worked. Basically, I was just yelling into the void, and somebody must have liked what I was saying, and I made friends with that person. And then you just do it again and again and again. Eventually, you have a network, and you leverage and treat that network with respect. And hopefully, as far as I found, that's usually what people will return to you. Most people are damn good. So I've been been enjoying the hell out of that. I mean, I went from 0 followers in January last year, and I just hit 3,000 yesterday, and all of that's off of this.
Congratulations.
Off of this product. And so I'm very happy with that. And that was starting from nothing. But again, not everybody can do that. And I'm very thankful for everybody here, everybody at Wikid, everybody in the Revengers, just all the support and the love at home. Laguna here. There's so much. Thank you all. I've been taking up time too. It's about me.
Yeah, I was just about to say we're getting close to the next segment here. Cody, I know you got some cool news coming up that you'll be telling us, as your work goes along. But in the meantime, where can people find you so that they can keep up to date with all that?
At Cowboy Steel on Twitter. Jack Iron Steel Cowboy on Facebook. There's both a page and a personal page named that. Follow them both. One of them, you'll get the same info. As a quick issue 2, just another update since we didn't do it since the beginning. Coloring has begun. We got our colorist, Steve Cannon, or Kenyon, not 100% sure. Amazing talent. Really looking forward to showing some more panels. I showed one on Twitter from the Four Horsemen, and I think it's also on Facebook. So you guys get an idea of his talent. And we should have all the line art in by the end of this week. And during this week, hopefully I'll have colored pages and lettering. So we're almost there. Almost there for issue 2, folks. Thank you so much for your patience.
And real quick, what's his name again? Just so we can get people following him on Twitter now that he's on there.
At Steven Cannon, like the camera, Canon. So it's either Canon like the camera or Kenyon, and it just doesn't have the I know it as an Enya, but there's the little schwa, whatever the hell you call it on the top.
The accent.
Yes, thank you. That's perfect. So,
and I'm putting this one in the YouTube chat. And just Matthew Reese says Jack Irons, Cult of Personalities. Boom. And he says, Jack Irons, please share your secrets.
Eventually, I mean, Wikid magazine, that's a reason to purchase it. Who knows? There might be some secrets.
Right? Definitely. Well, thank you for joining us, Cody. And what about you guys, Chuck and Eric? Where can we find you, and what would you like to tell us about your upcoming campaign?
Eric, go first.
Where you can find me is on Twitter at Jedi Raylan, and I'm on Facebook, but that's kind of like my personal page. You can find my business on Facebook at Hole in the Ground Productions, and also Hole in the Ground Productions is on Twitter too.
Oh, they are. Okay, cool. And what is the handle for that? For the Hole in the Ground?
At Hole in the Ground Pro.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think it's at Hole in the Ground Pro, if I remember correctly.
It's like Hole in the Ground Productions at Hole in the Ground Pro or something. I think something weird like that. I don't know. I'm hardly ever.
We'll link it into the chat.
And as always, everybody can find me on Sporkman Studios on Twitter and also on YouTube, as we have a YouTube channel. We generally try to do a stream once a week. Also, our campaign does launch on the 29th. So we have a lot of good things coming through here. We're going to have a cover here for the trade very soon. Like I said earlier in the chat, we've got a preview, a look at it, and Brad's doing an amazing job. I mean, I'm stoked for it once everybody sees it. I think once it's done, everybody's going to be excited for the project. Also, you can... our artist is on Twitter too. He doesn't really post much, very rarely. His is at Gifney Ricotta, and I think it's spelled. Give me 1 second here.
Richata.
There we go. But he is on there, and his website is orastudios.com. And our colorist is Ginger Foxy, and you can follow her at Ginger Foxy. She is going to get me a second page here so I can get those on the campaign so you guys can see the coloring. She has all the pages for coloring, and then
and they're nice.
Yeah, yeah, she's doing a fantastic job. I am really, really, really pleased. She is matching the flow of our covers very well. So, but yeah, so we have a stream. I will probably be running a stream Friday night for launch, or I might be on another channel. I haven't decided yet on how I'm going to do that. But yeah, so if you guys can come join us.
And people also visit the Sporkman homepage, www.getsport.com. And yeah, and go to Wikid Publishing and order Sporkman Conventions, the first issue.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a really great way to help show your support for the guys as they ramp up for the new campaign.
For sure. Do it. And we got Brett, Matt, and Adobe and or Diane. What's up, guys? So
you're welcome, Shrek.
We got a full house in here, guys.
I'll head on out, make some room. You guys enjoy the Mythoverse.
Move on over. We got the Mythoverse here.
Some magic and some great stories.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks guys again for joining us. We'll see you guys on the next podcast. And don't forget, next Friday, Jackbox game night. Woo!
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Later.
Nobody's still in here.
Time for segment 3. If you guys are watching now, we're getting into our segment 3, which basically is right now is the Mythoverse. We should be joined by Wes at some point. But hey guys, welcome.
Hi.
Hey guys.
How's it going?
Doing great.
What you guys doing? You guys getting ready for your campaign?
Yeah, it goes up in 2 weeks, right?
Phew.
Oh yeah.
Wow. That's close.
Yeah, to say the least, we've been very busy.
Yeah, I bet. Are you guys excited to get into the thick of it?
Yeah, as I'm wont to say, I've never been so relaxed while being so busy.
Yeah, I could see that. I can imagine,
It's because I'm working harder than I ever have in my life. I mean, Q1 2019 is going to go down as probably the most hectic period in my time on this planet. But
you were saying that with the job you have, where you have told me you've worked 100-hour weeks, and that's on top of raising 2 kids, Dan.
Yeah, on top of that, I mean, it's been especially interesting because Q1 I've moved across the state, started a new job. My kids are adjusting to the new neighborhood. I'm still doing Molly Beans twice a week, and I'm working all my extra free time with Brett and Matt here on the Mythoverse. But I don't feel overwhelmed. I'm actually never been more energized.
Really? Oh
yeah, absolutely. It really matters if you're doing something that you believe in. It doesn't really feel like work.
That's true. Yeah, you can. It's almost like it's fun. It's fun time. It's not. You don't feel the same way.
Yeah, I mean, it's a joy. It's time for myself.
Yeah, totally.
I even had this had a conversation with Matt a while back, but when I going even to my day job doesn't feel real to me anymore. It's like that's just a place I have to go to now, because if I don't, then where's the money coming from?
Exactly. It's once you find that thing that you love and you want to support it, it's like the job becomes like you just want to get it done. You're like, I'm doing this so I can support what I love.
Although to be honest, I'm about to fill the tank on my job, on my current job, just because I want my weekends back, and I'll be honest, it's been taking a toll on me emotionally.
Really? That bad, huh?
I do not want to say anything right now until I quit.
Right. We don't know.
Let's just say I've actually said I wouldn't send my worst enemy here.
Jeez, yeah, that's definitely pretty telling, I'd say.
I believe I get $150 bonus for every employee that I recommend. Let me tell you something. I feel like that $150 isn't worth it.
Yikes.
It would be blood money, wouldn't it?
Well,
yeah.
I don't think it's even blood money at that point. It's just like, it's just dust.
Well, hopefully you can find a better work situation maybe then, and get out of there.
I've got a couple possibilities lined up.
Matt will not take his 30 pieces of silver.
One of my friends can probably hook me up with an electrician's job. At least then that's good. That's good money at least.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, electricians, plumbers, they make really good money, actually.
Are you going to have to start as sort of an apprentice and follow them around for about a year? That's usually how it is in Florida.
Yeah, out in Washington, got to do about 4,000 hours to become a journeyman.
How many?
4,000 hours. So I broke it down. That's roughly 2 years.
Yikes.
Hey, an apprentice electrician still makes more than a retail worker.
That's true. I mean, there's nothing more soul-sucking than a retail job, is there?
I would say fast food.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I've never worked fast food, thank God. I only ever done retail, so.
And on top of that, you're working towards building your own business.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the dream, right? Yeah. We're building that up, and
so enough about how much real life sucks. Let's just talk about
right? Yeah. Why are we talking about this crap? This is a comics podcast. Darn it.
Because my job is like this stink that gets in everything.
Put the job away and forget about it for now. We have comics. We have Mythoverse on the mind.
Yes.
So speaking of which, we got like we said, we got the campaign coming up in about 2 weeks. So why don't you guys tell everyone just a brief overview of what's going down, what we can expect to see.
How much detail do you want to get into in terms of the campaign at this point, guys?
I think we can at least say that we've got 80% of it ready.
Yeah, I mean the page is in really good shape. I've got a lot of the assets and videos that we've produced so far up on the page. We've got just about all of the tiers and rewards planned out. We have one or two things I think we still need to discuss in terms of backer rewards and or stretch goals. But in terms of general foundations, it's all been laid. I've got all the assets and the graphics and the videos up there on the campaign, and it's looking really good.
Yeah, I know. You seem to be moving quite along, nicely.
Yeah, we've been planning it for quite some time. We're not just diving into this without looking. Yeah, we've been building this for better part of a year now, story-wise and business-wise. So I think we're as prepared as we can be.
Yeah, I think we started laying the groundwork. What was it, late January?
Yeah, something like that for the campaign anyway.
Yeah, that's really cool. You guys have been doing it the right way, I think, and really engaging with your audience.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of fun with it. I can't recall whose idea it was to make the role-playing accounts, but that definitely made the promotion much more fun.
And I think people really dig that.
Doesn't feel like work for one.
It also helps us get into more of the character.
Right, you can just see the personalities of the characters on display.
Exactly. And it's also helped us, at least for me, come up with some more ideas to throw into the story, the spontaneous things that happen when you bounce off each other.
Right, yeah, true. And I was thinking of which, I was just thinking how it'd be kind of funny almost to reference the fact that they all have social media accounts, in the comic.
Maybe. I think I might have made Maeve a bit more talkative on Twitter than she would be in real life.
That's funny.
Well, you could probably talk about how Maeve was once banned from Twitter or suspended from Twitter because she wasn't that. She put in her birth date
Well, something that I could see is that Maeve might be more comfortable talking online because it's an anonymous way to you don't have to show who you are.
That's a very good point. A lot of introverts are much more open when they don't have to look at someone in the face.
Right. Yeah.
That is true. That is true. I mean, that is true. Like, it's just she doesn't have to. She's not actually interacting with people, so she's not face to face. So she doesn't feel it doesn't feel as overwhelming to her.
Right. Yeah, I could totally see that. Yeah.
But yeah, we've had a lot of fun with those RP accounts. It's always such a joy to like spark off like a little banter between Adobe and Althea.
Yeah, seriously.
We have this whole dynamic going where Adobe isn't an idiot; she's a programmer, but Althea is like 2 standard deviations above Adobe at least. So she's the smart one. She's the Sherlock to Adobe's Watson. So they usually have this kind of like one-upsmanship going on, but Althea usually gets the better of it.
Or in this case, because if you're a Star Wars fan, Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Yeah, there you go. Obi-Wan and Anakin, yeah. I really like that meme where you said they're going to compare us to them, aren't they, when they're trapped in the energy field. We're better than this.
I think one of the funniest ones was when Adobe told Althea that she's the brain, she's just the muscle, and Maeve asks, then what am I? And Adobe just says, you're here for selfies.
Yeah, that was great.
That's awesome. Outfitting. Speaking of which, I saw the art piece. Oh, excuse me. The art piece that someone did for you guys. I think it was a fan piece. I'm not sure. Maybe it was a. You'll have to correct me if I'm wrong. But it's actually Matt. It's your icon right there. It's the. That like a punk inspired one?
That's the poster we had commissioned by Luigi Turrell from the Rags team.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, that came out amazing.
Yeah, Luigi is incapable of doing something wrong artistically.
He'd have to actually. He would have to actually try to make it bad.
And let me just go into a little more detail about why I said that. We didn't really give him too much direction except to put this person here doing this and put this person here doing that. But he managed to capture the character's essential personality traits without direction. Like you see, Maeve has that kind of leave me alone sideline glance that teenagers are so often apt to give to their parents. Althea looks like she's deep in thought and she's nervous because she's gripping one of her wrists, and she's the thoughtful one, so that makes sense. And Adobe's just there with a shit-eating grin.
Yeah, no, I think that's so perfect. I mean, he's very good at capturing the emotions and, like you said, in their face, their body language.
Especially considering we didn't even give him any material to work off of.
Seriously.
Yep.
Yeah, so he just completely nailed it.
Yeah, let me pull it up here. I'm gonna pull it up on the screen share, just so everyone in the YouTube can see. Sorry, the Matrix there, part of the Matrix. And then here we go. So this is it here, and so yeah, that I mean, and so did he do the line art and the colors as well then?
He did everything.
Nice. Yeah, the colors complement the line art really well. I mean, look at that sunset.
Yeah, that's something he added himself too. I mean, I literally just hashed together a photograph and said, here's roughly what I want them to be doing. And he not only added that really cool camera angle to give it a little more visual interest, but he captured all the characters just perfectly.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, you mentioned earlier about their different looks, and I think he nailed it. So yeah, that was a fun piece to see. You know.
Yeah, I'm super stoked about this one.
Are you guys able to use that in any way or form? Do you think
that is going to be a poster that we are going to put in with a bundle at our highest backer reward.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, that's gonna look really good on the wall, especially nice. And are you gonna go glossy with it?
Oh, absolutely. I have to do this thing justice.
No, that's epic. So yeah, that's gonna be cool. Speaking of which, so what are some of the perks that you could talk about right now?
Do you want to get into them?
Yeah, I think that's fair. So, like at the low end, we've got like just a simple chibi icon that Dan is going to design, plus a personalized thank you from each of the each of the Mythoverse ladies. He's after that. I think I get the $5. Actually, I have the page open right now. Okay, so yeah, $5 will net you digital download of all 3 books. We have 3 different $8 reward tiers. So it's a print version of the book of the backer's choice plus digital downloads of the other 2. And at 15, that gets print versions of all 3 books. And at 30, gets prints of all 3 books plus gets the print versions of all 3 books with our friend Antonella's variant covers and the poster by Luigi.
Nice. That's awesome. So a lot of good extra materials coming along with the books itself. Then,
like I said,
Yes.
I think that's going to sell people on really well on the campaign is just the amount of options they have.
Right? Yeah, the keychains. You mentioned keychains, right?
Are we still doing that? Because I don't see that.
Oh, sorry. Maybe I misunderstood. I misheard.
Yeah, at present, we're trying to keep it lean and mean about books and
What was
print.
the first item that you mentioned on there? Sorry.
Oh, okay. That was for the $1 tier.
For the girls that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you just want to support the campaign, for $1, you'll get a personalized email with a chibi image of all 3 girls. Thanking
yes, a chibi image.
person by
Okay.
name.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's awesome. I think that's why I thought keychain, because I thought cutesy, like the
Yeah.
chibi version. Either maybe that, or I misheard the word chibi. But at any rate, the chibi is kind of a fun way to view the characters in a different way, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely.
Now, well, we won't get too much into that. That's a discussion for another time. But for the campaign itself, like, what are some of your? Have you talked about the goal yet? Have you released that kind of information?
Our goal is $6,000.
Nice, for spread across the 3 comics.
Yep.
That's excellent.
And that goal is based on paying our creative teams. Essentially, that's what we hope to be able to do.
Nice, yeah. Pay them and for production and for all their art. And you guys have big teams, don't you? All 3 of you.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
there is one thing I think we should at least mention. We are on when it comes to the print editions. Those are only going to be available to U.S. backers at this point in time.
Yep, that is made clear on the campaign.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I'm curious about this. So, is it because you don't want to impose such a high cost on international backers, or
that's pretty much the long and short of it. That a lot of it was just because it's too expensive to ship internationally, and Wikid at this point in time doesn't have the ability to print internationally either.
Right. Yeah. Not at least not with maintaining consistent quality across all copies. That's for sure.
Right.
We've looked into options, third-party printers in other countries. There's a really good program that I like. But yeah, it's hard to say whether the quality would be the same. Which could be a big deal. But yeah, no, I totally get that. It makes it easier. You don't have to worry about that. And I assume down the line, international backers will be able to buy it by some means. I assume, right? I mean, not backers. Sorry, international customers. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the goal. But for right now, in terms of the campaign, we're focusing print only on domestic orders.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay, and then so we got the goal, we got the tiers. Is there anything else you guys want people to know in particular as we get closer to the campaign?
Well, the biggest selling point, I think, is they're not getting 1 book; they're getting 3 books that are 3 distinct genres, 3 distinct styles, and 3 distinct stories. So, and while that's the case, they all are taking place in a universe that has a unified set of rules, and we're creating a larger story as we build up to it. And I think this point was made in the first segment. We didn't set out to create a shared universe. We developed all of our stories independently of one another. To give you an idea, I completed the first draft of the Adobe Kroger novel in 2013. So that was quite a ways before I even met these guys. However, when we got together and we started sharing our ideas, they just seemed to fit together. But at that point, they were already well established and well fleshed out. So it happened as organically as anything Marvel did, basically.
And maybe even more so in a lot of ways, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like our stories were not meant initially to fit together. They just happened to fit together. So we thought it was a logical next step to include them within a shared universe.
And I think that's what makes a Mythoverse launch so strong is that it's not some sort of shoestring thing and to say, oh, let's all go. We're in the shared universe, but you're actually giving us stories, characters, and comics that have been fleshed out that are deep and have their own, can stand alone as a great story on their own.
Absolutely. Like Changeling is its very own animal. It's completely distinct from Adobe Kroger or Mythics, but the underlying rules of the universe are consistent. So, and like, you know, you don't need to read Adobe Kroger #1 to appreciate Changeling #1 or vice versa. They are their own entities.
Right, and if you want to mix and match, if you just want to get one or the other, and you know there will be options for that in the campaign. It sounds like
exactly, and that works great because Mythics is more of a detective story, Adobe's more of an action story, and Changeling is more of a young adult drama / supernatural, fun, like more wholesome story. So there's something for everybody.
Yeah, that's interesting. What was there? Was this again just coming out naturally from your own stories? The fact that there are these different age demographics that they kind of appeal to.
I think so. I mean, I know that Brett deliberately set out to make Changeling an all ages story, or at least a young adult story.
Yeah, it was more adult, but it's kind of more. Well, I mean, I've kind of told people if you don't have problems with your kids reading Sailor Moon or One Piece, you shouldn't have a problem with this. I mean, like, Dan, how old is your daughter again?
She's about to turn 8.
And she's read stuff like One Piece or Sailor Moon, right?
Yeah. I mean, she got a little bit upset at One Piece when Luffy stabbed his face at the very beginning, but she got over that.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and even I think even Chuck said his niece has seen Sailor Moon.
Yeah, I mean like I'd be perfectly comfortable from what I've seen letting her read Changeling.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
I'm gonna say there are gonna be some dark, maybe some darker, more mature moments in the story. And when I say mature for the book, not mature the way Mythics and Adobe Kroger are going to be. It's like it's kind of one of those things where it'll go over your head if you're young, but when you get older and you come back to it, hopefully, then you'll get what it meant.
I call that sort of thing parent service. It's like,
yeah,
it's kind of it's a good way to go about it. You know, I think with the way you've written that story.
Otherwise, I think like it shouldn't be. It's not good. If I'm doing this right, and I'm 90% sure I am, Changeling shouldn't be any more graphic than your typical Shonen Jump manga.
Well, maybe less so because there were times in Bleach where it got pretty graphic in terms of.
Yeah, that's right. Bleach, people would get their arms chopped off like all the time.
Yeah,
it's like you could make a drinking game out of all the times people got their arms cut off.
It's kind of like Tite Kubo was the George Lucas of manga.
Yeah. Okay. Like, well, let me put it this way: it shouldn't be any more graphic than your typical Shonen Jump manga.
Right, like maybe like My Hero Academia.
My Hero Academia, Naruto. Again, coming back to its Sailor Moon, One Piece. No, it's not. It's not gonna be blood and gore. Like, and I don't think
it's not bloodbath. It's not Berserk.
Oh God, no.
And it shouldn't.
That's what
Right.
Adobe Kroger is for. There will be much blood in Adobe Kroger.
Adobe's a lot older and she's been through some shit, so.
Yeah, I actually put a note in one of the panels for Leandro. It should be a bloody mess.
Nice. Yeah, there's an interesting point is, you guys all have these different styles, and how has it been like, working on these different things that have such unique looks and feels to them? Well, like working on as a shared universe in that sense,
It's been very interesting and educational, and I think I've definitely grown as a storyteller as a result. So
really,
I certainly think it's been a great experience for me personally.
Well, yeah, that's really cool.
It's also a delight to be working with people who write character stories. They are just so good.
Likewise, like I've always been more of a character-driven writer myself. Like the Adobe Kroger novel is essentially one long character study. Like stuff happens in it, but it's all, the whole story is like how Adobe reacts to these things, or whether correctly or incorrectly, and you see the growth. And that's why I've always been a much more of a manga reader than an American comics reader, because they've always been more character driven.
Mm-hmm. So you guys fell in love with the characters that you guys had made, and was that part of why you guys wanted to work with each other?
I don't know. I think it was just more of I think it just happened more like I think the best way we can put it is we just kind of decided it on a lark.
It just came about and just happened to be,
It's like, hey, you want to do this? Sure, why not? I mean, but I think what made it an easier decision was here were two guys that really believed in what they were doing and were good at it. I could tell they had their chops. They knew how to construct a story and likable characters. So if you want to succeed, you got to surround yourself with people that work hard and care about what they're doing.
And we'll be diving into everything Mythoverse for the Wikid creator interview with you guys. We're going to be launching that on the day that they launched the campaign, April 5th. So be sure to check that out. I think we're going I want to say 6 o'clock. Was it 7 o'clock maybe? I'll have to double check 6 or 7 o'clock, but I'll make a post.
I took the whole day off work, so I'm
nice. Yeah, you guys are gonna have a fun day that day. I bet that's gonna be wild.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, have you guys been getting a chance? I know you guys have been so busy with creating comics. Do you guys ever find the chance to read comics anymore these days?
Yeah, mostly manga.
Really?
Yeah, I actually have every volume of One Punch Man. And,
oh, geez.
Which is an absolutely hilarious. I mean, the one thing I love about it is he doesn't even try to hide that it's not really about Saitama, because really? Saitama usually is in like 10% of the story in the later volumes, and he's like always a tiny character on the cover. It's like he's either invisible, he's off to the side somewhere, and some other character is featured. So it's kind of.
Have you seen the anime? Does it compare? How does it compare?
It's almost a 1-to-1 translation. It's like almost a perfect translation. But the one thing that you miss if you skip the manga is around volume 7 when he's fighting Lord Boros and he does a serious punch. In the manga, it's like a 12-page sequence of splash pages.
Oh, wow.
It's like, oh, he's still punching, still punching, still punching, still punching. Oh, okay, there you go.
Finally.
That's funny. Wow, 12 pages of splash. That's a lot.
12 pages of splash. It's probably the most epic composition I've ever seen.
That's awesome.
It's hilarious. And on top of that, I've been reading a lot of the old Berserks, some Narutos. And I'm trying to vet these books for my daughter because she really wants to read One Punch Man. And I there's still a lot of pretty graphic stuff in it.
Yeah, that might be too much.
Yeah, so I show her the funny pages. Like she loves the okay panel.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she thinks that's hilarious.
Yeah, I love the humor with that series.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I've been. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I can't really think of any necessarily comics off the top of my head to just for a younger audience like that these days. You know.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad Brett's making his book.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. You know, it's a rarity.
Yeah, well, I noticed when I first started making it, I noticed that a lot of people were not making books that were aimed at younger audiences. They all seem to be chasing the adult crowd, which okay, that's fine. That's not that's not an audience you should ignore, but it's like if you want to keep the comic fandom alive, you gotta start when they're young.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, that's a great point. That's why I love how Alterna Comics is a big proponent of that.
Oh yeah, I forgot Alterna Comics. My daughter's a huge fan of Mr. Crypt and
nice.
Baron Cheese, whatever his name is, the rat. She has her own copies that she's almost
great.
ripped to pieces because she's read them so much.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think that's so cool. I gave out some Mr. Crypts on Halloween last year for Alternaween, and it was cool to be able to help spread that and love of reading to new generation. You know.
Oh yeah, I actually managed to participate in that too. It was such a huge success. I'm doing it again this year.
Nice, yeah. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with that. I backed the alternate expansion, and now I have like 100 alternate comics coming. So I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do with all those.
I'm in a similar situation. I'll have to tweet out a shot of all the extra alternate comics I have on my top shelf.
Right? Someone suggested donating them, so I think that could be an option potentially. Schools or libraries maybe might want some cool comics.
I have a buddy opening a game shop. I'm trying to convince him to order.
Oh, smart. Yeah, that's a good idea. I even thought about asking Peter if he'd be okay with me, just giving them out in general to spread the word. You know.
I'm sure he wouldn't mind as long as they've already been paid for.
Yeah, I mean, I assume as long as the Kickstarter, or the Indiegogo, I think, I assume they get paid for within the pledge, right? I don't know for sure, but hopefully. But yeah, no, I always think that's pretty cool. So what's the word I'm looking for? Not recommend, but I applaud you, Brett, for doing that. You know, for doing an all ages series. I think it's really cool because it's something that anyone can enjoy. It's not necessarily just for kids, right? It's like something that people our ages will enjoy as well.
Like I said, if what I hope for Changeling is that it's a book that kind of grows up with you. Like you, you read it one time when you're young, you like the art, you like the characters, you like the story, whatever, and then you go back and then when you're older and a little bit wiser, and then you start seeing things that you didn't notice were there the first time.
That's a really great idea. Yeah, I think that adds rereading value, but it also just like you said, I love that you can grow up with the reader, and it's a really powerful thing. Because I look back on stories that I did that with, and they're always really a big part of my life.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that just kind of comes back to when I was growing up, I was kind of. You see, my family, we did not have cable when I was a kid, at least not till I was 10 years old. All my parents just didn't want to pay for it.
Really?
Yeah, and so what TV my brother and I were watching were like video cassettes we either already owned or had rented. And man, I really feel old when I say I can actually remember what it was like to actually have to go to a video store. Dan's daughter is never going to know what that was like.
Thank God.
My daughter will never understand what physical media is.
Yeah, well, hopefully not that bad.
Well, okay, so yeah, stuff I was watching was Disney movies from that time period, or stuff like Batman the Animated Series, and those were things that even though they were aimed at a young audience, they were still able to sneak in some adult themes. And it's stuff you can go, and it's it adds a lot. It added a lot of depth to them, and it's stuff that when you go back when you're older, you can see the things you missed when you were young.
And that makes sense because, fairy tales for kids usually had a dark theme to them because they were cautionary tales.
Oh, very dark.
Like don't cry wolf because you will get eaten.
Or
Grim fairy tales are. I'm not sure. I don't think grim fairy tales are gonna. I don't think changing is gonna get as dark as grim fairy tales got.
Thank God. Yeah, I don't think that's necessary.
Holy shit! Some of that stuff is very dark.
I
a
think
lot of
it'll be
beheadings.
Different kind of dark, though.
Say what?
Emotionally dark. Maybe.
It'll be emotionally dark.
Yeah, it'll be emotionally dark, but yeah, just stuff like. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, some of the stuff that goes on in some of the original Grimm fairy tales is like fucking gruesome.
Yeah, it really is. There's a lot of beheadings and probably a lot of viscerations, I would imagine as well.
Not just that. It's also I think a lot of it's more and I don't want to. Let's just say it. I'm just gonna type it because I don't want to say it on air, but I'm gonna say a lot of it also seems like it's heavily implied.
Yes. But it's speaking of Changeling and Maeve, Maeve's obviously a teenager growing up. Music is generally a very big part of teenagers' lives. So, what kind of bands is Maeve into?
She listens to Ingrid Michaelson, Dodie, Priscilla Ahn, Sarah Bareilles. She's really more of an indie pop girl.
Oh, indie pop. Interesting.
Yeah, I know. There's like a couple dedicated channels on YouTube that play indie music, and I just put it on, and it just for some reason it gets me in that headspace, right? Like it fits. It just fits the book it had, and probably just because it's in Aberdeen, Pacific Northwest. It just kind of has the right vibe.
Yeah, that's really cool. Actually, I could even see like a soundtrack to listen, like or a playlist to listen to or read. Huh?
I have one on Spotify for her.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you should totally share it once the book comes out. People can totally listen in when they read.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adobe set up one for herself too.
Nice. What is Adobe into?
She's into the indie punk lo-fi sound. The echoier, the better.
Nice.
I was going to say, even though Maeve is Aberdeen born and raised, she does not get why all the grown-ups around her like Nirvana.
Really?
Well, you gotta be. It's partly because she's a kid. Kids tend to not get things until they're older.
That's funny. I was the kind of thing. I was half expecting Maeve to be into Nirvana.
No,
yeah.
that would be one of her classmates, Andy.
Yeah, one of our role playing conversations was Adobe explaining why Nirvana was a big deal to her dad.
Nice.
I had Maeve respond with, "I've listened to Smells Like Teen Spirit since I could crawl, and I still don't understand it."
Yeah, that sounds about right. So what about Althea? Is she much of a music fan?
She is, but she finds that she doesn't have much time to listen to what she wants to, but she'll listen to music that fits whatever she's writing.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, which is probably a lot because Althea seems like one of the hardest working people around.
Yeah.
She has to do her job with like her hands tied behind her back, given the state of the world.
Yeah,
so we can't blame her.
Yeah, thanks, Paladins.
So now we get the real scoop. It's your fault.
Yeah, it's hey, Adobe just works there. She doesn't know.
Isn't she also a freelance writer too?
Yep.
Nice. What's she writing right now?
Well, a lot of what she writes is based on what she does. She figures that nobody's gonna believe that she's the one. She's writing about herself in those stories.
No, I thought she was more like a ghostwriter or something.
She'll go for whatever work she can get, much like any writer.
Okay, this is Okay, so she has done some ghostwriting then.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, that ghostwriting is when you write somebody else's story and they take all the credit.
It's not when you get possessed by an evil fire demon and then become a flaming writer.
It's mostly politicians who do that too.
Yeah, politician actors sometimes do that.
Yep. Although there are some actors I've seen who are principled, who will I credit them as well on the cover. Believe it or not, William Shatner does that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Actually, now that I think about it, like, didn't we also talk about like maybe like early when she was getting started, Althea tried her hand at being a journalist?
Yeah, and then she found that it was too. Let's just say that she could not degrade herself in that fashion. She does not like telling lies.
Now in the chat we had a question. Rumble Terrier says, "I just downloaded Shonen Jump. What should I be reading?" Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Dragon Ball's still good, I think.
Are they still going?
Yeah, yes and no. I don't know. I think you've also got back issues for back issues for all their manga, I believe.
It's probably a very low chance, but if they've got Gintama, go for it.
Yeah, I don't know if they have that one right now. Let me see. Let me look up the current lineup. But you know, it's funny. I used to back when it first started in 2000. I think it was 2001, 2003 area time. I used to pick up the original Shonen Jump when it first started here, and it was still a print magazine.
Oh yeah,
that was really cool. I got that for a number of years, and then I think after a while they had to stop doing the print version.
Yeah, with Gintama, and Gintama was probably one of the few titles they actually canceled.
And yet, but they keep bringing it back.
Well, Gintama, the manga for American translation, has a lot of controversial stuff that'll make people go re.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Lots of words that would make Twitter ban you.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Just for perspective, there was one chapter where the creator used one of his side characters to basically make a Donald Trump joke.
Hey.
Well, he also did a joke with Obama, except that the character was turned into Will Smith, who quoted Obama.
This is bizarre.
Yeah, Gintama is when Gintama goes to some weird fucking places.
Yeah, so you guess you got to be prepared for that, huh?
Yep. Although it's one of those rare stories where it can seamlessly move from street comedy to a semi-serious story.
Sorry, say that one more time.
A semi-serious story.
So it actually has a decent story to it.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah, I've always thought about getting into that series, but it's just so long.
Well, it's coming to an end soon.
Really?
Of course, that could be the creator trolling everyone yet again.
He does that.
Yeah, it was supposed to end about 2 years ago.
That's funny. Yeah, it looks quite funny. I know they made a live action version of it that was supposed to be all right.
They did a sequel too.
Really?
Yep. You could it's actually a really good movie.
Yeah, you know, a lot of the anime live action movies have been doing pretty good lately. I saw the what was it? The Rurouni Kenshin trilogy. That was really good.
Yeah.
I heard that the Full Metal Alchemist movie was not so much. Although they nailed down the one scene you would hope they wouldn't.
Which is what?
What's the worst scene you've seen in Full Metal Alchemist?
I guess like
worst because
there's only one. There's
punch.
one above all others. It's got to be that little girl, right?
Yep.
You want to know something that makes it darker in that live action movie?
Huh?
She's still alive at the end.
Yeah, really.
There's no scar to kill her, so she's being experimented on by the military.
Oh my god, that's
even darker.
That is just awful.
Yeah, that part always got me in the show. That was a really crazy part.
And they also killed off Hughes.
Yeah, that made me say Ed. Spoiler alert! If, by the way, if you haven't seen that.
Actually, really messed up. The guy who directed the 2003 Full Metal Alchemist anime also directed Angel Cop.
Angel Cop.
That is a notoriously awful 90s OVA.
Angel Cop sounds bad.
Sounds
cringy.
It's like a poster boy for bad 90s anime. Also, there may or may not be some hidden anti-Semitism in it.
Oh God, that one probably doesn't get a lot of replays.
Well, the Bleach live action movie was a okay movie.
Was it? I didn't catch that one.
It was. Don't go in expecting a complete accurate depiction of the characters, because, for one thing, the character of Rukia isn't very similar to the one. I guess they got her tone down right, but she doesn't do as many of the drawings.
I always like those drawings.
God damn it! That was probably that was probably one of her. That was probably like her best quirk. She liked to draw, but she wasn't good at it.
And he always gave her crap about it.
It was also a good way to deliver exposition.
Right? Yeah, it was. You get something really complicated and stuff that might be dry otherwise, and it suddenly becomes really funny, and you're paying attention to it.
Yep.
But I haven't seen the whole show. I've only ever seen up to just after the Rescue Rukia arc.
That's all you need to see.
Really?
Everything goes downhill after that.
Well, yeah, the manga artist didn't want to do any more than that. He wanted to end it there, but it became so popular that Sudden Jump made him do more.
Oh, that's too bad. I could have seen it having a good ending there,
Yeah, I think from what I hear, he started he started trolling the audience at that point.
Which is too bad, the show started off really good.
Yeah, I know. Yep. I guess it started out too good. Actually, here's something funny. Gene Simmons' son, Nick?
Gene Simmons' son, Nick.
I know what you're talking about.
Gene Simmons, the workout guy?
Gene Simmons, the guy
from Kiss.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so Nick Simmons tried his hand at making a comic once, and he got into trouble for possibly plagiarizing Bleach.
Oh no, you're kidding me.
Like it looked like, and I mean, like it looked like he had traced over artwork from it.
Yeah, I guess when you have nothing original, just copy someone else, right? Is that how it goes?
I'm just thinking, it's just like, wow. Of all the things you would think Gene Simmons' son would get into trouble for.
It has nothing to do with drugs, too. Another good anime, another good adaptation is Blade of the Immortal.
Blade of the Immortal?
Yep.
I've heard of that. I've never seen anything about it.
Well, it's about an immortal samurai named Manji, who would be a very controversial character today because of the Manji symbol, which is basically a reverse swastika on his back. But the whole thing is he has to protect this young girl named Rin as he plots out her revenge against a school swordsman who killed her family.
That's an anime?
It's a manga.
A manga. They don't have. Oh, really? They don't have an anime for it.
They had a 12-episode anime.
But it doesn't do the whole series.
No, it wasn't completed at that time.
But the manga's good. Worth picking up.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been trying to read more myself lately, and read more comics and manga and stuff. I'm trying to think. I've been reading Robert Kirkman's new series Oblivion Song.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Pretty good. And then another one I recommend, a manga called Gangsta. I don't know if you ever heard it, but it's pretty cool. You might especially like it, Dan, because it is definitely violent. So it might fit in long.
I've seen the anime. It's unfortunate. Unfortunately, the 12 episodes they made are all we're getting because the studio had to close up shop.
Yeah, I was really disappointed about that. It's a great studio, Man Globe Studios. They had done, I think, Samurai Champloo
They did.
and a few other really good ones. But so they had a good resume, but yeah, I don't know for whatever reason that after this they went bankrupt. But the manga is continuing, so the story actually goes on past the manga, or past the anime, which is nice.
Yeah, that's true.
I always liked when shows that end, like at least you can keep reading it, then keep getting the story.
My go-to ultraviolet anime will always be Fist of the North Star.
People have told me that. I haven't seen it, but they say he like destroys people.
There is a stupidly comical amount of blood and guts.
Will we see that much blood in Adobe Kroger?
Well, I won't spoil anything. But suffice to say,
to be determined.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, so getting back to Mythoverse a little bit, you guys are ramping up to this for this big campaign. How do you guys find the time to relax at all? Or has it been pretty much a grind the whole time for the last bit?
Well, it's been very busy, but I don't consider it a grind.
Good. Yeah. So you're still enjoying the process.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because in the end, when we get this campaign done, it'll be like a graduation. We worked really hard. We got to this point, and regardless of what happens, we can look back and say we did something awesome.
Yeah, I think it'll be a great thing you guys can be really proud about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's really, I think it's really cool that you guys are still, after all this time, you're still so passionate about your projects, and I think that's what brings people into you guys, is they can tell how passionate you are and how much you interact with the fans and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of the medium, storytelling medium of any kind, but in particular comics, because the way it melds the visual with the intellectual, and I cannot wait to let people have a look at what we can do.
Mm-hmm. And so April 5th it's launching. You guys are going to be on my stream. Do you guys have any other cool streams or any other things coming up that you have planned?
We have a couple lined up, but yeah, we will announce those as they are finalized.
Okay, cool. So be sure to follow them on their social media to be able to find out when those are going on.
Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and drop the social media links for the Mythoverse in chat so that you can share them.
Excellent.
All right. First one is the Instagram. That's what we've been spending a lot of time promoting, and that's been doing really well. Let me see. Then I got the Facebook and the Twitter. I'll drop those right here.
Yeah, your Instagram. That's a good. I'm glad you brought that up, because you guys have your Instagram game seems like it's doing really well over there.
Oh yeah. I mean, just like every time I post new art, we get at least 60, 70 engagements from it.
I mean, that's amazing. Yeah, that's really cool.
Especially the I think our most successful one was the Maeve Kitty page. That has been liked over 1,000 times.
Oh my god, that's incredible.
I wonder why.
It's because she's so cute.
Because you got everything you need to make it shareable.
It's maximum cuteness.
Got cute pastel colors on the page. It's got a cute little anime girl cuddling a cat going, kitties.
And they both have huge eyes.
They all have huge eyes. Yeah, little hearts and everything. I mean, it was designed to be shared.
Right? Yeah, no, I really love that panel myself. I just it's just so fun because you don't necessarily always get to see the lighthearted side of Maeve, so it's fun to see her let loose there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the second most popular one so far was the Mythics page with that superb Atmospheric Color by Beth
Oh,
Barney.
nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not surprised about that. You know, it's funny. I almost thought you were gonna say the beach scene.
The beach scene was a huge hit in terms of profile click-throughs.
Nice.
I think looking at it right now, like 4,000 profile click-throughs.
Wow.
From that image.
That's wild.
But in terms of likes, yeah, the Maeve and the Mythics one have been the big winners so far.
Nice. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I love the Mythics colors. You know, they're just so bright and vibrant.
Yeah, I've said this before. Whatever we see now, I've got plans so that it'll be completely blown away in a later issue.
Well, Beth is improving every time she lays pen to paper, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it's cool to see that progress.
Yeah. Wait, did Matt say he has some that can top the cat scene?
Well, no, I'm saying that it'll top what I'm doing for Mythics. I want that one page that has over 700 views.
You got something in mind that's gonna.
Basically, my whole thing with this first story arc is to show off not just what's going on with paladins and changelings, but also take Althea to the spirit realm.
Should be some interesting visuals there.
I love that idea. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah, I know. I love the fairies and.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, issue 2 is going to have Maeve going into taking her first step into the Fey realm, and I'm basically Ginger's got the job of designing the concept art for that, so that Victor has something to work off of, and I know she's going to have a lot of fun doing that.
That's why I can't wait about the Mythiverse. For me, personally, is I've always been a huge fan of mythology and legends and folklore, and so and that's one of the things that drew me to Hellblazers is to learning about more about these things. So I'm really excited to see a world where we're getting all these comics and we're diving into different aspects, like you said, the Fey realm in this one, and then we're going into the spirit realm over here, and we're gonna be touching on this thing over here. It's like it's really cool to explore, and there's a lot to explore.
Agreed. There's going to be a lot of that, so that's the things that readers can look forward to.
That's awesome.
Hey, I'm gonna have to knock off because I gotta leave for work in about half an hour.
And then so have we posted your social media accounts to follow?
Yep, I see them there in the chat.
Excellent.
Or at least the Mythoverse ones.
I'll go ahead and post yours, Brett, and thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. Has your work
problem.
schedule changed at all?
They moved us from 2 to 11 to 1 to 10.
Oh boy, so it's actually earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was later. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks for hanging out with us while you could. I appreciate it, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Bye.
Yep. I've got to duck out too, so thanks for having me on, and can't wait to get this campaign off the ground.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I know it's gonna be exciting, and everyone also be on the lookout for our interview together with all these guys. We're gonna dive into even more depth than what we did today. We're gonna get into the nitty gritty and the inspirations and all that good stuff. So
beautiful. Can't wait, man. Take care.
See you later. And then I guess I'll go ahead and post the last bit of where we can follow you guys. Matt, you're on Twitter, is that right?
Yes, I am.
And anywhere else that people can follow you?
Nowhere else, really. Twitter's the biggest place I've been concentrating on, but I'll probably start up a Facebook page sometime in the future.
Cool.
And see how that goes.
Sweet. Yeah, no, that sounds like a great idea. It's always good to try and reach as many different audience as you can, you know.
Oh, yes.
Awesome. Well, you know, I guess that's it for the Wikid podcast this weekend. It's a long one, but I appreciate you being with us. I'm really looking forward to your campaign. I think it's going to be awesome.
It will be. I think that people will come out satisfied.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think you guys are offering really great comics and really great, you know, perks, and there's a little something for everyone, and even people who want to dive in headfirst in the Mythoverse, they can get it all, and you can be right there at the ground level. So yeah, I think it's gonna be really awesome, and people are gonna look forward to that. So definitely follow these guys on there, and thanks for joining us, everyone in the chat, and we'll see you guys next time on the Wikid podcast. Take care, guys.